The moment they say it, like they say it to you, like you're just instantly categorized with every other fucking weirdo that has said that. When you're with someone, like don't like tear them down. Be like, you can tell them like they're
you
beautiful.
look fucking ugly
today.
Change
My God, you gained weight, you fat bitch.
Is the reason that meditation is so good because it quiets the mind, which then in turn helps you to control your thought processes more, which also then controls your livelihood, like the way you create your life and the way you live life. What is top 5 biggest turn-offs, not just for you, but that you know other guys have as well?
There is one turn-off for a straight guy, and that is... missing someone.
Hey guys, welcome back to Distracted. I'm
Like warm up.
Yeah, I already fucked up in the first scene. You can leave that in, Tom. You know, I'm a screw up anyway. Hey guys, welcome back to Distracted. I am here today with my friend Mo Samuels. Big introduction.
What's Gucci, people? I feel like there's 2 cameras, so I don't know which one to look at. I'm gonna look at that one right there.
One.
But then we can kind of look at each other as we talk.
Yeah. So just
okay,
like
beautiful.
here and there, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different setup today because obviously I think you're the second guest I've ever had on the show, but last time I actually didn't even have proper mics, so it was just like really fucking awkward. We were sharing one and just talking like closely together. It was bad, but I'm getting better. Mo is from Cornwall. He does like fitness and like, what would you class yourself as? Like a fitness influencer or?
I don't even know. I hate,
because it's a mixture of like so
I hate the
many
term
things.
influencer.
Yeah,
I absolutely hate it. The only influencing that I do is like probably bad. But no. So I started off doing fitness. Basically started off doing like fitness. I was with Gymshark, as like all fitness people are.
That's how I met you, Gymshark.
Yeah, literally like all those years ago. Kind of like I still do fitness. It's like the main thing that I do, but I kind of like got bored of doing like the typical, like I was like a teenager at uni, like muscle, get as big and jacked as possible. Kind of got bored of all that, and then just started doing other things and like living life more and not caring so much about the whole like making fitness specific content. So I like to skydive, I like to jump out of planes, off cliffs, like to party, like to do loads of shit like that.
I've kind of like seen your content throughout the years, and it's definitely like just drastically changed with the stuff you post. Like you do a lot of just, like I said, living life kind of stuff, and you care a lot less about like just purely growth like a lot of people do, and you care more about like quality over growth, which is nice to see because like you do a lot of things that aren't... Is it really that low?
We're just having a little
mic check.
We're trying to get the mics perfect, people. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, but you do a lot of things that like are very... You don't see them around very often. They're rare, and I like that kind of content because I do think that there's a lot more value to it, even if like you can't really clickbait as much or you can't like do the normal like big trends that everyone does. It's still more like there's more value to it. You know what I mean?
It's a weird one, man, because like call it ego, but I don't know, call it me being stupid, but I've never been about like, I've never really cared so much about like, I should do this to grow. Like I make content because I like making content. Yeah. And it's always been that way. Like when I was younger and stuff, like when I first started YouTube, it was always because like I made stuff because I enjoyed doing it. And the fact that I filmed it was just secondary. It's never like, oh, let's make a YouTube video.
Like a job, you know.
About this. Yeah. That's gonna like, I'm gonna make this because it's like a trend or whatever. I do it because I enjoy it. Like I fucking like doing it.
See, that's what everyone should be doing. But I think most people are just in it purely just for the growth and like the influencer side of things. But I do like that your content is like, just not your stereotypical like gym lad content. There's a lot more to it, and even with like how you branched out with like RET and stuff, how would you even describe RET? It's like it's your brand, it's your company, but you also have like a membership website, right? Is that correct, or is that very wrong?
So yeah, RET is basically like a membership site that we made, myself, my friend Tom and Alex. And it's like we wanted to do something where we give like, because like I started uploading like self-help content to YouTube. Like I'm a big fan of like, I really like reading, I really like learning about like myself, kind of stuff, you know, and how like improving my life, because obviously I think that your like we train our bodies, so cliche, but we train our bodies, but we neglect our minds, and our minds are like the thing that determines our entire reality. So it's like I really got into like meditation and like loads of others, like reading loads, like learning about why I think like certain things and why I act in certain ways. What are you gonna say? No,
but it's good though, because I feel like there's such a massive stigma, like, oh, you read self-help books. Oh, like you meditate. Like, are you a fucking like Yoda? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people judge it before they try it or get to know it. Or like, if someone is really into self-help books, I think a lot of people think like, oh, they're like insecure, but it's not about that. It's just there's always room for improvement mentally, and I feel like if you are the type of person that will give a bit of time and like space in your life to improve yourself and to get better and to, you know, fix like your mindset, whether there's something wrong with it or not, or you just want to have a better brain in general, I think it's a really, really, really good thing to invest your time into. And I definitely want to get into some of those topics with you, because there's a lot online that you guys post, like a lot of words, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
The and flower.
I'm just like so confused. I'm like, what does that mean? And like I want to like kind of look into it a lot more. So we will get onto that, but a massive change of topic, because let's be real here, before this podcast started, there was some beef. Yeah, there was some drama.
Oh, okay. What was this about exactly?
So basically, I have the approval to talk about it from Josh.
Yeah, go on.
But so my boyfriend Josh, we had a little argument today, and Mo's been around and been our little mediator / therapist. And I think it's important also just to speak about these kind of things, because I don't think anyone fucking does online, like just real shit that happens in your own life. And I'm maybe like selling my life for views, but at the same time, fuck it, I think honesty's good.
Worst things to be selling.
Exactly. That's true.
Laughs nervously.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, never mind. So yeah, we got into a bit of drama. We actually were meant to film this podcast at like 12, but yeah, what's your side of the story, Mo? What would you say happened today?
You want me to go into the ins and outs of your like
yes, exploit
love
my life
and your quarrels and your arguments? Absolutely, yes. Basically, Bella is like the most stubborn person in the entire world.
Facts. Yeah. I am very stubborn.
And then basically
Josh
felt disrespected, and the combination of like, it's just literally, it's like no one's fault. It's just different ways of viewing the same thing. Yeah, like literally, that's what I like wholeheartedly believe it is. It's like there's something happens to one person, it might be a problem, it might not be a problem, but you perceive it differently because you're both different people, and then it's like, in your case, it's just nothing has escalated into something. Like, that's literally it.
It's tough, right? Because I know this is like such a random topic. It's out of the blue. You're probably watching this like, what the fuck is this podcast even about? And I get it. But I think it was just important to touch on, because like, so you guys can understand the mood a little bit, because it's been a long day. It's been a long day.
We're off to a good start, and so you threw that downer into it.
No, but I quickly want to touch on it, because we are going to go into like relationships a bit. So I want to talk to you about like dating and...
I see you're like easing me. She's making
I'm
me...
easing it
you're
in.
giving me a full sense of security.
Exactly.
Full sense of security. So like, we're starting with you, then we're going to talk about like all of my like life's fuck ups and other things. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Fucking
pretty much. I'm making him comfortable so that he can open up more about his shit.
Rapport, that's it. Yeah,
exactly.
Step one of manipulation.
I'm a smart host, okay? I manipulate my guests, and I think that's fine. But
sociopath.
But yeah, I was just kind of like, I wanted to touch on just arguments, because I feel like you see on Instagram like all these couple goals and all these perfect couples together and going on holidays and doing this and that or whatever, but no one actually talks about the fact that every fucking couple in the entire planet has issues. There always is, no matter what relationship you're in, there's always going to be issues, and it's just like how you guys resolve it, if you can resolve it, and then if you don't, then that's when it ends. Wait, what?
Yep. No, so okay, I don't really know what you're getting at, but I'm happy to chat some shit.
Yeah. Transition
so yeah, you're trying to say basically I broke up with my girlfriend, obviously, like a week before last or something. But yeah, like touching on what you're saying. So like, I don't really do arguing. Like, okay, I do get pissed off and lose my shit, but because I'm like, I don't know if it's a bloke thing or it's just like a defense mechanism, like I will literally just shut off emotionally to people. Yeah. Like if I'm in like, if for example, if I was with someone, I'm not saying this is a good thing to do, it's a bad thing to do.
Very bad.
If I was with someone and they were like in tears about something and like screaming and shouting at me, I would literally just be talking like this, because I would just completely shut off from it emotionally. I'll be like,
is it almost like a defense mechanism where you
100%.
but therapist session, because
I like podcasts. It's basically free therapy. Let's do it.
But why do you think that happens? Like, because I know a lot of people can probably relate to that, and like just shutting off emotions. I do the same thing sometimes, but not when someone's crying, more when they're like angry because of like how I grew up in my family. Like, why do you shut off to just any emotion? Because you said shouting and screaming and crying.
I don't know. I think it's probably like a masculine thing as well, like a man thing, like that. Men don't show emotions as much as women. They're less neurotic, less crazy,
less psycho.
But also, I don't know. I think it's like I've been through a lot of shit in my life as well. So like, in comparison to, like, in the grand scheme of things, like if my girlfriend is upset about something that I perceive as being petty, like maybe I just don't fucking care. Like, call it horrible and unempathetic and bordering like sociopathic,
psychotic.
But I'll be like, in the grand scheme of things, man, there's people like getting their arms and legs blown off and shit, there's
Fucking
people
hell.
There's like people that are stood in
you.
IEDs, and like I read a lot of stuff, a lot of books, and like listen to a lot of shit about people who've gone through like incredible hardship, and it's like, and you're crying about this, or like you're upset about this. It's like, get some perspective.
Get over it. Yeah.
It's not good though, because like clearly my relationship ends, and going back to you, it's like I think it's good to argue.
Yeah.
To an extent, because
yeah.
it's like a relationship. At the end of the day, it's about like you clearly get on. Like at first everything's great, but then problems will begin to arise because you're two separate people. As like 100%. The oxytocin, like that feel good hormone that makes you feel like you're high
in love. And
that begins to fade. But then it comes to a point where like, okay, arguments will happen, but it's like each argument, it'll either get more and more toxic, or if you can resolve the argument, the root cause of the issue, it's like a problem checked off.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're learning to live with each other better. So I think it's a good thing in a sense, like, as long as there's some kind of positive outcome to it.
No, I definitely agree with that, because like, just a random example, but with one of my exes, like we never ever argued, but it was because like we didn't care enough about each other to argue, if that makes sense. So I think when there's absolutely nothing wrong in your relationship, in terms of like, after a while of being with them, let's say you're together for a year, 2 years, and you just never ever argue, that's kind of a red flag, because it's like, do you really care enough about that person? So you're just like avoiding arguments in a way. Do you know what I mean?
That's definitely a factor as well.
Like I'm sure some people do really get along great. Maybe their personalities just fucking like click, and they grew up in similar ways. They have the same like morals, same kind of like looks and views on things. So maybe they just get along easier. But at the same time, like when you're with someone and that infatuation stage has worn off, you start to notice little things, and you're like, like that kind of pisses me off. This kind of pisses me off.
I think you've got to learn to live with that if you want it to work. Like I honestly think, like, obviously I'm only 25, but from things that I've read and what I've learned, it's like I don't necessarily think there is like a perfect person out there for you. I think it's like you find someone that's a good match, and then you learn to live with each other, and then that doesn't mean it's going to be bad, but it's like something you actually have to like fucking work on. It's like it takes effort. It's like why my relationship failed, for example. No, it is legit. Like I know that it's my fault. Like, but I'm okay with it being my fault. Hopefully, it's not gonna ruin my life. I'm not gonna die like a 80-year-old man by myself,
all
withering away,
in
a fucking tent because I'm homeless.
Fuck.
But yeah, no, I honestly think like in that instance, if you want to talk about my relationship, for example,
are you okay like with going into detail?
I don't give a shit.
No exposures all.
I'm easy. Yeah. But no, it's literally, so like the reason that ended is weird, man. That's proper weird. So I met someone. It's quite interesting how we met actually. Met from, I saw her on like, it was like Facebook or TikTok. And there was like loads of, this is where Mo Sam as a stalker comes in.
Oh my God.
Good thing I'm all right looking, or I'll probably be in prison. But yeah, so basically I saw this chick on TikTok or Instagram or something, or YouTube. And I was like, there was loads of guys being weird in the comment section, like being like thirsty over her.
Yeah, seedy cunts.
Yeah, being like incels. Weird comments. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this one step further, and I actually want to like smash this person. So I like a challenge. No. I kind of did think that, but I didn't. I'm a man at the end of the day. But I like a challenge as well. Like literally, like if something is just given to me on a plate, like I lose interest.
Too
like,
easy.
If I get someone's number quite often, I just won't text it because like I just can't be fucked.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I like to do weird stuff. I like a challenge. Like yeah, I like met up with people all over the world. And long story short, started chatting, found the person. She actually like ghosted me, or we had a bit of back and forth, shared like a mutual love for music, and then she actually like asked for a number. She didn't give me a number.
Oh,
and
there we
then,
go. That's
yeah,
when you're hooked. You're like, oh shit.
yeah,
okay,
I was like, mama didn't raise a fucking quitter. So I got a number. I can't remember what I said, and then got a number. Got ghosted again. And then I was like, right, I do something called, this is called the kamikaze, okay? This is where you basically...
The kamikaze.
The kamikaze. Do you know, like in Japanese fighter pilots in 1945, they used to like fly planes into ships as a last-ditch attempt and blow themselves up.
Oh, fucking hell.
So this is like similar, the equivalent thing, okay? In the dating sphere, yeah. And basically, so she hadn't replied to me, and it'd been like 3 days, and I was like, oh no, I quite like this girl. And she's like ghosted me. So I sent her a voice note.
Oh my God.
And it was something like, I was like, fuck it. It was like, right, this is, like, do not treat women with respect, ladies and gentlemen. But it's something like, what did I say? I was like, how dare you ignore me, you fucking bitch. My ego is incredibly hurt right now. Like, my ego is absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
And I can't, something along those lines. Like, it was a joke.
Yeah, obviously.
And then she found it funny. And then she, I think that was when she gave me a number. And then we started talking. And then she flew over she's living in Portugal, flew over from Portugal, stayed in me. And yeah, became, like, got together and have been together for like the last year.
Yeah, and they literally broke up like what, a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's weird.
And like obviously I've known you for a really long time, and like you're very work driven. Like your whole life, like you're the most motivated person I've ever fucking seen. Like he'll literally be, you know, from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to sleep, just on his laptop, just like working non-stop. And I feel like you're in a place where maybe like a relationship, just you don't have the time to invest in it because you're so selfish almost.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. I feel like being selfish is good in to certain extents, but I feel like in a relationship you just can't be selfish all the time because it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of, like you said before, a lot
100%.
of time like and energy and just effort, you know, at the end of the day. And maybe you're just sort of not in that mindset. Is that like correct or like
kind of, yeah?
Because you did really like her.
Oh yeah. So basically, like we actually we lived together for we went over to Portugal before the at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And we lived together like in like strict lockdown for 4 months, like in the pretty much in the middle of nowhere, just us two like together 24/7. And there wasn't like, we didn't have any arguments. It's pretty damn good. There wasn't any issues. Like I could have like, this is kind of weird and kind of sad, but I know that I could live we could probably live together and like have like a serious relationship if I put the effort in.
Yeah.
So like there's no issues whatsoever. We're living together. It's like really good. Like we didn't really argue or anything. Obviously everyone has like a little like disagreements every now and then. Of course. And anyway, and then we went back to England, and then we kind of like went our separate ways because we weren't living together back in England. We weren't living together because we're in Portugal. And then she started working in the city in London.
Yeah.
I don't really care if I give too much away. Everyone knows who it is anyway. But yeah, so we started working. Yeah. She started working like a full-time job, like 9 to 5, and then she was like super busy, like getting up at like 6, and then not like finishing it until like, or not able to get back to me properly after training until like 8, 9, 10. And like I am bad at texting anyway, so like I'm used to people always running after me, like call me a pretty princess, but like the dynamic is always like I'm crap at replying, people like always run after
chase
me,
you down,
chase me down. I kind of like make it like that as well, so I'm not going to run after anyone. And anyway, because of how busy she was, and because of like me doing that as well, and also like we just like barely spoke to each other.
That's tough, man.
And then throw in the fact as well that like I'm always doing stuff, like I'm busy, so when I do have a bit of free time when I'm not doing something, I want to like go skydiving or do something fun. So like I would be selfish with my time in the sense that like, okay, like if we were together, I would still be like on my phone or doing work. Like I wasn't really 100% with her. So it's like very selfish with my time, and like it got to a point where it really upset her because like I was so like doing stuff all the time,
and fair enough as well,
and selfish because like there was a day, like for example, I said I'd spend the weekend with her, and then I just went skydiving on Saturday. But no, I did. But I like I'm justifying it and it's wrong. But I did like ask her, and she was cool with it. 'Cause she just went and saw a friend. But I don't know if that's just a girl saying she's cool with it and she actually isn't cool with it.
What is going on, Distracted Podcast? Yes, I am filming this in portrait and it is 2021. But jumping in here to say, some recent events have transpired, unwrapped since filming the podcast. And if you haven't seen my Instagram, if you've seen it, you'll know. If you haven't, then go on @MostAmers and check out my story highlights where I go over everything. But basically, it turned out my ex-girlfriend, who I spoke about in the podcast, had been cheating on me for the last couple of months. But regardless, everything that I say, try to drive and do this, it's not good. Everything I said in the podcast, like most of it anyway, still stands. You can't really judge someone's character on one poor, albeit fucking terrible decision. So yeah, I still stand by what I said to most of the extent, but that has recently happened. So if you wanna find out more, read on my Instagram. But long story short, she has actually cheated on me for the last 2 months, and I went and met up with the guys who she was cheating on me with. He had a girlfriend as well, so I went and met up with his girlfriend, which is the one that told me. And we went and got drinks on Saturday night, stayed at mine, had a good time, ate some chicken wings, fantastic. All the details are in the post, so check it out and enjoy the show.
But yes, it's just like, it's tough because in order to be in a relationship, unfortunately, in many ways, you do have to give the person a lot of your time.
100%, yeah.
And otherwise it's never going to work out, because it's like, you can have your own lives for sure, but if you don't even schedule time to go on like a date night or to do this or to do that and actually invest time into that person, it just never works, you know?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
With friendships, it's different because, like, you know, we could go months without talking, but we're still friends at the end of the day because we're both busy, got our own shit going on.
Yeah.
But with a relationship, it's how do you explain it? It's a lot more different, because more different is that.
Well, you need to work it. You need to put effort.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, like, if you really love someone, if you're really, like, you know, in love with that person, you want to spend time with them, you want to do stuff with them, you want to go on date nights, and sometimes, like, it just depends on what your priorities are, and I feel like your priorities at the moment aren't quite there. Is that correct?
Yeah, kind of. So I got to a point, and like all that was going on with London, blah blah blah. I'm not really speaking to each other, and then she had a big issue with me. Not, I wouldn't say a big issue. She got very upset about me like being late because I was like, I needed to train and other stuff to like a meal she had planned out, which is completely fair. I literally, I'm in the wrong here. Like, it ended because of me, and then I like saw it as a problem, and then I was kind of like, what did I say? I was like, I was like, all right, like, I understood. I was like, okay, let's go out for a meal Sunday. Like, I'll dedicate this day. Like, won't do any work. We'll just, like, me and you go out for like a proper, spend the day together, go out for a proper meal. And then I can't remember, like, I don't know why it happened, but then she like didn't fucking reply to me all weekend. And there was no like beef or anything. Because I think she's just like had enough of me being shit at replying, so she is just reciprocating. And then she was like doing something with her friends instead. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Like, we're not going out for, not spending the day together, going out for food.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, and then it was like really, then we didn't really speak after that weekend. And then she just texted me being like, you're right. And I was like, I think our relationship's pretty dead. And then
over text as well.
Yeah, over text. And then I was like, I was just kind of over it. And then I think she was over it as well. And because like, I just wasn't willing to
put in the work.
Yeah, I wasn't willing to put in the work because like there's too, like, if I would have spent like dedicated like 1 or 2 days a week with her, like it would have worked. It would have been great. 100%. But because I'm too selfish to do that, and I've got other things I want to do, like grow my YouTube. I'm releasing an EP soon. Like there's like music, like this. I do not have enough hours as it is, you know. So it's like at this time in my life, it just won't work. And it's like, dude, like, there's no bad blood. It's really weird. Like I still find her attractive. We still like I spoke to her a few days ago, like very briefly, like how she's doing. There's no like nothing bad at all between us, but it's just like we drifted apart, literally.
It just sounds like it just fizzled out almost naturally, especially with the world opening back up. I don't know if this like plays a role or not, but I do think maybe COVID could also be a factor of it, because as the world opens back up, there's more and more and more to do. There's more that you can actually do for your YouTube videos, more to do for work, more actual like work trips, business, like
Too many wild sex parties to have.
Too many wild sex parties to have. Fuck.
Do you know, every joke there's like a little sprinkle of truth. You know?
Oh my god. But like, you know, those things do play a factor in it, and maybe like you were at a place as well during COVID when everything was locked down, that like you were almost a little bit calmer and settled, and now the world's back open again. It almost feels like a new wave of like motivation to do something and do more for yourself in terms of work. Or is that not the case? Like, were you still working flat out during COVID as well?
Oh, nah, kind of. I still doing work and stuff during COVID as well, but obviously I had more free time. Like, I wasn't doing all the shit that I'd normally do. So like, there was no festivals on or anything. But even then, like, I was struggling with time to spend with my girlfriend. And I don't know, maybe like in 3 months time, I always think about this. I'll be like, I've made a terrible mistake. I'm sorry. But,
oh my God.
It's, I don't know, it kind of reaffirmed to me as well though, that it's like, it was the right choice when like, when she was like pretty chill about it as well. Cause I was not expecting that, man. Like, call me a fucking egomaniac. But like in the past, when I've broken up with people, they've been like, I'm sorry, Bo, I love you, come back. And I've like ruined lives.
That makes you like not like them even more though, do you know what I mean? If you're trying to break up with someone and they're just like almost desperately wanting you to stay, that is very unattractive as well. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's just one of those things. It's nothing to like bad in your relationship. It's just not the right time. Like, you never know, in a few years you might be at that place where you're ready to do that. And
I fucking hope so, man.
With her, whoever, you know. So
I hope so. Like,
it's a phase, I reckon, or not, or you'll die alone, either one. But I think it's a phase, and I think a lot of people can relate. Like, sometimes you do have to just prioritize your time and into the things that you want to grow. So like, wherever you put your time is what is going to like grow at the end of the day and like become bigger and become more successful. Like, if you invest a lot of time into a relationship, you know, most times it will work out. If you don't, it's not gonna work, you know, unless the person is the exact same as you.
Well, you can't, like, I've been thinking about this a lot recently. It's like, you can't have your cake and eat it. Like,
no.
The unfortunate fact of life is there are only so many things that you can do and do successfully. And it's like, you've got to pick and choose, like, what are the top three things that you care about? And for me at the minute, it's like music, social media, growing that, and family. And it's like the third one kind of ties into like the first two. Obviously I want to spend time with my little sisters and my mum, and then it's like that's pretty much all my time gone. I kind of want to get into some more juicy topics, because like relationships are great and all, love them. I'm definitely like a relationship person myself, but same.
They can be a little boring to talk about. I think it's like being a dead horse at this point as well, because like I think everyone has different everyone has these different relationship issues, and there's so much to talk about in that, but it's definitely not what I want to focus this podcast on too much. But to summarize, I feel like everyone is into different things as well and in different stages of their life, and it's just whatever suits you best. But don't go into a relationship if it's just for the convenience of it. I really do think you have to consider the other person's feelings as well. Like, if you know you're in a place that you're not you don't have time for a relationship, don't get in one. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Like, I think, like, okay, don't get me wrong. I think like, okay, you don't find a perfect person. You've got to settle for someone that you get on with well, and like work to make it good. I think like getting married, having kids is like the way you're gonna be happy. Like, ultimately, it gives your life a new purpose. But like with me right now in my life, and maybe I've got it completely fucking wrong. Like, there's too much shit I want to do. I just like, you're only going to be like, you're only going to be in your 20s once, you know, like, I just want to go and fucking meet people, have a good time, like meet different people, like go skydiving, do cool shit, like adventure, and just like make connections, you know, and do fun stuff.
Don't you think that there's someone out there that you could still do all of that stuff with? And that would, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But there's also that burning desire just to like go out and like a lot of stuff. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you just want to grow on your own and not like depend or like have to look after someone else.
I just want to go and make as many single mums as I possibly can.
Oh my god. Just milk them all. Like,
Exactly.
fucking hell, man.
That's my purpose.
Only newborn mothers. But all right, so moving on from relationships, getting some more juicy things. I really want to talk to you about just in general, because I see that RET posts a lot of dating advice tips and a lot of stuff to help guys get a girl or get laid or whatever it is. What is top 5 biggest turnoffs, not just for you, but that you know other guys have as well?
There is one turnoff for a straight guy, and that is if she has a dick. Literally, okay, like the majority of men are no, because like, okay, so like I'm half joking, but like the majority of men, man, are not that picky. But there is obviously, I know what you mean. There's a few things. Like I think big men turn-offs. And women, the way we view sex and dating is like completely different. And yeah, we do like RET. Like I want to say, like a quick disclaimer as well. We do a lot of stuff on like social skills, how to get better, like socially, like public speaking, like other things, like how to meet and like actually talk to girls and have like a good conversation with people, because it carries over to like all aspects of life. Like I always say that obviously like you said, there's the term game, which is like guys going out and meeting girls and stuff and like manipulative and all this like stuff. But it's like I always say the only thing creepier than a guy that doesn't know a guy that knows game is a guy that doesn't know game. It's about like, okay, so it's like full like social skills generally. It's like, okay, yeah, that includes like meeting girls and meeting women and stuff, but it's also like how to have a decent conversation with someone, how to like get your own way in a certain way. And it's like, yeah, there's psychology behind it and there's psychological tactics as such, which can be used like badly by people. But also it's like some people are born with this or develop this naturally through their lives, the people they're with. So it's like, if you haven't got it, why wouldn't you learn it? Why is it just that some people are like blessed with it, and if you're not blessed with it from birth, you're not allowed to learn how to communicate with people better? So yeah, it's like for example, like a big one for me, man, is body language. Like learning how to read people's body language. And like men generally are really, like women are better at naturally reading body language and non-verbal cues and other things, but men don't have a fucking clue. And it's like, if you go out and you speak to someone at a bar and you say something like you make it like a joke to a girl or something that you're chatting with, and she tells you to fuck off, it's like no. So the fuck off's either going to be like
a joke, a
flirtatious fuck off because she's interested in you, or it's going to be a serious fuck off, you're a creep, leave me alone. Yeah. And it's like the majority of a big problem when it comes to like men meeting women and like issues occurring is because they don't understand the difference. And it's like, I think it's 70% of communication is non-verbal. So it's with your body and with like your mannerisms and gestures, etc. So it's like, if you actually, in that situation, if you know how to read body language, like you can tell if it's like, all right, I should probably leave this person alone, or I should probably stop speaking to this person because they don't want to speak to me. Or you can tell like, oh, this person's like enjoying the conversation,
it's just a joke,
she feels safe and comfortable. And it's like, yeah, it's like that, man. It's improving everyone's, like, why wouldn't you improve the interaction for everyone?
Yeah, it sounds so simple, but like so many people have no fucking clue about it. Like you actually really do get people that like don't even know how to speak, that like don't make eye contact, like they don't actually like, they're like look down at the ground and like just little simple things that like a lot of us take for granted that we know. A lot of people really fucking have no clue. So I think it's really good to teach those kind of things, because like you said, not everyone learns it naturally, not everyone is born with it, not everyone kind of like maybe is put in those social situations to learn those things. Maybe they live in the middle of nowhere, maybe they just, you know, haven't been around people like a lot of their lives, or they live in a country where it's like, you know, maybe the Middle East, for example, where women are very, very covered. Like they're not really many like dates that happen. Yeah, they're very objectified. Like there's not really many male-female interactions that actually happen. So how can you learn something if you've not been like done it in practice and like had the experience to, you know, slowly gain that confidence? You know what I mean?
It's like if you're able to interact with everyone better socially, your life will be better. Like the 100%, other day on a I was on a train and I have an expired rail card. Like, it gets you like X amount of discount. Yeah. And the guy comes up to me and he's like, "Can I see your rail card, please?" And I was like, okay, if I could lie to him and be like, oh, I forgot it, but I know that based on like people, we can naturally read body language. So based on my tone of voice, he's gonna know I'm lying. He's gonna feel disrespected. So I'm just gonna tell him the fucking truth. So I was like, look, there is a 99% chance, more like 100% chance, that my rail card is expired, and I thought I'd just try my luck. And like, I would, like, me 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. I would have been like, I've
stumbled and like been like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
shit, like just shy and like easy to read through straight away.
Because I know like I've learned to improve myself socially, and like I've learned about human communication psychology and how to be like a better person.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'll call it better person, whatever, scrounging a rail card. He was like, this geezer was like,
and like getting a free like ticket.
This guy was like, he's like, show me a rail card, said it again. So I was like, I got it out, I showed him, it said expired in massive letters because it's digital. And he was like, looks fine to me, mate, have a good day. And it's like, just little things like that, man. Or like going for extra effort to, let's say like, I used to be really shy and not very talkative. Now I just won't shut up and I'll just keep dominating this podcast.
No, it's fine. Talk.
No.
It saves me the work, go ahead.
But no, I used to be really shy and talkative.
Yeah.
And for example, like if you like every little interaction, every place I can, I'll try and like sharpen my skills and hone them. So like if I'm going through a checkout, I'll try and make the cashier smile. Like I'll have a proper conversation with her, even if it's some like 70-year-old woman or if it's some bloke called Chad, like I will go to the effort to have a conversation and like make their day better. Not because I'm such a nice person, so altruistic, because it's like, I enjoy the interaction as well, man.
And you learn so much from it as well. Like the more you put yourself in, even like if it's uncomfortable at first, the more you put yourself in those situations, the better you become at them. And
Absolutely.
like after a long time of just doing it over and over and over again, it's just so natural. And you can just literally just speak to like anybody and have a conversation with anybody and just be super social no matter what room you're in, which is really valuable. It's
like, it's a tool, like you use it or you lose it. And like post COVID, obviously, like as the world opens up again, it's like I've lost a lot of it as well, so I need to reacquire it. But it's like, yeah, man, you just start on the most basic level. Like I always say to people, like clients and stuff of mine as well, like if they struggle with speaking to people, it's like social interaction, start small. So like go that extra mile to like have a conversation with the barrister. Like don't just be like, thanks, like hey, like go that barrister. That's someone in court.
Barista. Barrister.
Go like have that conversation.
Why the fuck would they be in court?
Have that conversation because they've been like sexually harassing girls by talking to them too much. No, but you know what I mean. Like yada yada.
Fuck off was come shag me. Like
yeah, basically that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Grab her by the pussy, as a famous man once said.
Oh my god,
cancelled.
All the little like people in my comments just like, what a misogynistic fucking cunt. Like,
well,
it is what it is. Anyway,
it is what it is.
What it is. Oh, we are joking for legal purposes. Please do not rape or harass anybody.
I'm not. I'm just a terrible person, like the worst human being ever.
But it's it's fine. Not that's fine, but like it's fine to. I think it's fine to joke about anything. Like as long as you are not serious about it and you're not actually being like telling people to legit go fucking rape somebody, then don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like honestly, like going full circle, like I 100% wholeheartedly believe that like if more men knew and actively learn how to read everyone's body language, how to speak to women properly, how to have a conversation where you're seeking like where you just want to make the other person laugh and have fun, like everyone's life is going to be better. It's so like much. if you go out and you like catcall girls or you like you shout from your van, like you're a fucking dickhead. Like I
don't get what they expect to even get from that. Like what do they think is going to happen? The girl's going to turn around
drop
like
her panties and be like, oh
exactly.
my god, you're so
just,
masculine.
Like, start soaking on the floor. Like it's not going to happen. It doesn't make any sense like what they even expect from that interaction.
I literally think it's because like they're with their friends, they want to look like they're confident and have like they
trying
want
to be funny,
or they want to look, they want them to be like, oh look how brave and confident he is. Like oh yeah. And it's like, it's just literally all ego. It's like all ego,
but it's
man.
just like, it's fucking weird, especially like when you get the little groups of them. And it's just like, what, like why? Like, I don't get it. Anyway,
turn-offs.
Yeah, definitely turn-offs. We went like fucking full circle there. But 5 turn-offs. What's the biggest 5 things? I
don't know if I can give you 5. And for generic ones for guys, it's a tricky one because like
everyone's just so different as well.
Yeah, and because like men, like a lot of like a man is gonna be like more lenient with like.
Why are they more lenient? They just want to get laid.
Mate. Do you want me to explain? Do it now. I can actually explain to you if you want.
It's quite interesting. Like I actually, because I know like men are more visual anyway, and women are more like emotional. Like that's like science.
Yeah.
But what is it that makes men like so much more lenient in terms of like their standards almost? Not all guys, but a lot of guys have very low standards. You know?
So basically, like the biological reproductive strategies.
Oh god,
of,
here we fucking go.
So like any like complex multicellular organism. So let's say like people, like, I don't know, orangutans, dolphins, like anything that's like quite advanced and has a brain, like animals basically, they have like a similar reproductive strategy between males and females in the species. So obviously men make sperm.
Yeah.
Girls make eggs. Sperm, from a biological point of view, are incredibly easy to produce. They're like so cheap. They're like pennies. Like we can produce sperm in unlimited quantities for pretty much the duration of our whole life.
Okay.
So like it doesn't cost us anything from a biological level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's cheap. So that means that we can go and fucking, if we wanna pass on our genes to like the purpose of life is to reproduce and pass on your genetics, like on a biological level. So the best
men want to spread the fucking
so the best
seed
option
everywhere.
for men, is to put their seed in as many different
vaginas
as possible. Legit, because of
God.
the nature of like the
How
reproductive strategy
yeah.
versus like women, which are females, where you've got
selective
you've got a finite amount of eggs. Like you only have a certain amount throughout your life because you go through a menopause and they'll run out. From a biological point of view, they're incredibly complex, so they're costly to make. It's like quite like, imagine a sperm costs 1 pence to make, an egg probably costs like $10 to make.
So it's more valuable, so you want to make sure that like the I guess genetically you want the best sort of genetic sort of combination.
Your eggs to go to like the best possible mate. So your offspring are the most genetically
and the healthiest and all that kind of stuff.
100%.
So we're more picky with guys because we want to, like, not obviously not consciously, we're like, oh yeah, I'm running out of eggs, like I need to like give my egg into the best perfect person, but like subconsciously and just biologically, like you said, it's more about like we don't have that many, so we want to make sure that it goes to the right person.
So that's why women that's why women are less likely to cheat than men. That's why men are more likely to cheat based on that, like at the most fundamental level anyway. And it's like, so a woman, like generally women will want to select like one like perceived like prime partner who has great genetics and mate for life with him, versus like the bloke might want to go and put his sperms in as many different literally, man. I can't remember where I was going. What was I talking about? How did we start on that?
I think we were talking about 5
5 different turn-offs.
And why guys have such low standards.
So
makes sense.
A man is going to have lower
standards
because he's just like inclined to go spunk up a wall, whereas a girl is gonna. It's why like there's a disparity. It's like, it's quite funny actually, because obviously in 2021, like men and women are exactly the same, right? They're not
exactly the same.
There's no biological differences between men and women. That's sexist to say that, but yeah, it's why like it's like, personally I don't give a fuck if a girl wants to go sleep around with as many people as possible, but it's why men sleep around more, and it's probably why on a societal level it's like it is seen as being less, not, I don't know, less, like some, I'd say that like
almost
especially
like
older
a
generations,
deep-rooted sort of like view in a way, like it's just a biological thing, so it's almost deep-rooted in us to, this sounds sexist, but it's like fundamentally not really sexist. It's like you said, just biology. How, you know, if you're planting your, like guys are planting their seed in every fucking vagina they find, surely you wouldn't also, guys wouldn't want a woman that's like having loads of seed planted, because like even when you think back to like proper old, you know, what would you call them, Victorian times or whatever, you don't know whose kid is who. Do you know what I mean? If you if the woman is like sleeping around. So I think as a male, you kind of want to make sure that kid is yours, and like that kid is actually your seed. Does that make sense, or am I talking absolute fucking trash?
No, I get what you're saying. It makes sense. Like, so you're saying, you want to know that it's actually your child. But I think as well, it's why we have like, it's why it's societally ingrained in us that like, if you're a man with multiple sexual partners, you're like the age-old thing, you're a player. If you're a girl with multiple sexual partners, you're a slug. And it's like, whether that's right or wrong, like personally, I don't fucking care. But yeah, that's kind of where that stems from, I believe, on a like societal level.
I mean, like I you know, obviously everyone has their own morals and their own like choices of what they choose to do in terms of that. But I do think, you know, the stigma of like, if a girl sleeps around, it's not cool, but if a guy sleeps around, it is. I don't particularly like that. I think it should be even in many ways. At the same time, like, unfortunately, like dudes are just, like you said, more inclined to shag anything that moves. So, but then if that is the case, and I'm sure it's not the case with every guy, because there are some guys out there which are incredibly loyal and would never cheat, or would never, like, don't sleep around, and like would rather just have that one girl and stick to that, and are never fuck boys, never like really go out and explore like that. So why for them? Is that just a personality trait, or is that just purely like genetics? Maybe.
Why do people cheat, you mean?
No, why do some guys, for example, not hoe around? You know what I mean? Like, why do they?
I think it's multiple different factors. Like,
yeah,
I
more
think it's
personality.
like, well, if someone doesn't have the confidence to go out and meet people, like they're quite socially awkward, and they meet a partner, they're probably going to be more inclined to settle for that partner. Do you know what I mean? Because they
have less options.
So that's from like a negative frame.
View, yeah.
If let's say, maybe someone's parents have been married since they're 18, and that's all you've known since you're a child, you're probably gonna be more inclined to stay with like one partner for life.
So it's more of like a personality thing, and also like your environment, like what environment you grew up in, what you're comfortable with, and
loads
of different factors that influence someone not being like maybe like a fuckboy, you know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because I think men generally, like every man has a bit of fuckboy in them.
Yeah.
But like I've never cheated on someone, and I don't plan to do it. Like obviously there's it's weird. Don't you think it's like, I understand it, but don't you think it's weird how like how it's so wrong to put your genitalia in someone else? Like it's like
I get what you mean.
home wrecking.
I think it's just purely cultural, because
in a
lot of countries, like what is it? I can't remember the fucking name.
Polygamy.
Yeah,
polygamy.
Yeah. In a lot of countries, that's very normal. Like guys will have many wives, or like there'll be like many, like 3 people in a relationship or whatever. So I think it is purely cultural, and what you learn from your parents.
It's weird though, isn't it?
It is very fucking strange. Don't get me wrong, and it's just purely what you were taught, pretty much from like an early age. Like what you were taught is right and wrong. That's all right and wrong is. It's just what you have been taught by society in wherever you are from and wherever you live, which is odd, but like it's hard, because I can't say like, oh, it's fine, because in my head I'm like, no, that's so fucking wrong.
I'm the same, yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But at the same time, when you really think to the root of it, like why is that right and why is that wrong? It's purely how you were raised, and purely what you've just known your whole life. That's pretty much it.
Well, like the main reason that I don't or haven't cheated on someone like is literally because like I know that when you do a behavior, like whatever it is, you are like deepening the neurological pathways associated with that behavior, so you're more likely to do it again. So let's say, like, for example, if you've murdered someone before, you're more likely to murder someone again.
If
you've raped someone before, you're more likely to rape someone again. And it's like, obviously I'm not going to go murder or raping anyone. I've no like desire to do that. Laughs nervously. But no, what I'm trying to say is that okay, so let's say like I can guarantee if anyone's listening to this podcast and they cheated on someone multiple times, the first time they did it was probably absolutely petrifying, and it's like they've broken that seal, and then the next time won't be as bad. The next time won't be as bad because they're getting used to it. Like, in layman's terms. So it's like, if I was to go out, like obviously there's a whole like I don't want to hurt anyone and do anything, be a piece of shit. But if I was to go out, let's say I didn't really care about my girlfriend that I was with, and it was only like a thing. I was 18 years old, and I cheated on her. And I was really scared at first. I got used to it. And then like I had another girlfriend and I was a bit bored of my girlfriend, and I did it again. At that time, like, it wasn't too bad. And I maybe cheated like 3 or 4 times. Then I get a wife and I have a family and I love my wife to bits, but I'm a bit bored sexually. I'm going to probably cheat on her and ruin my family and ruin my life.
It's almost like as if because you've done it so many times, you maybe start to think like, oh, this isn't as bad. You know what I mean? Or like it starts to become almost like your moral code almost changing. Shifts and changes like the more you do something. So that definitely makes sense. That's what there's like the saying, like, once a cheater, always a cheater.
I agree with that. And
I very much agree with that too. I feel like it can be different in certain situations. Like, let's say you were really young in high school or something, and you weren't really with like the girlfriend. It was like a serious relationship. It was just sort of like a, you know what I mean, like a high school thing. I think in certain situations it doesn't apply.
You can grow out of it, I think, but you can grow out of it.
Yeah, but if you do it in like your 20s, that's when it's like, okay, that's probably going to be repeated again. Or do you disagree with me?
No, I think like if you're conscious of it and you're like aware, you can change it with effort.
Yeah.
But it's like you will have to like yeah, just don't. If you want a happy life, I'd say don't fucking cheat. Period, man. Don't be a cunt. Turn-offs. Should we get to it? Right.
So
I can't speak for everyone on this.
maybe just do yours then, because it's hard to like pinpoint like all guys as turn-offs.
Because okay. So like, I don't know if I can think of 5, but I'd say a big one for me is like insecurity.
Okay, and
like,
explain.
So like, for example, if a girl is like putting herself down, like depreciating herself, is like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm blah blah blah, isn't secure in herself, like, I find it so unattractive, because it's like, if I'm with you, man, like, I'm gonna, like, I obviously find you attractive, so it's almost insulting to me, and it's like
insulting to you.
Nah, I find it insulting. It's like, as well, and it's like victim mentality, mate. Like, again, like, there's this thing, like, so many people worse off than you, like, you are attractive, like, and you can't moaning about things isn't going to change them. So I just find it so unattractive when people like moan about their physical characteristics. Like, fucking get over it, man. The world doesn't care about you.
It's almost like a manifestation in a way, though, in terms of how other people view you, because if you're constantly pointing out all the negatives about yourself, other people will start to notice those negatives way more than all the other things. So like, why point out all the bad shit or the shit that you personally don't like, and then everyone else is going to start thinking the same way you do?
100%.
It's kind of like self-sabotage in a way, where you're making people notice your flaws when they might have not even seen them in the first place. Yeah.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's just like, it's like there are things that you can change. If you're
of course,
really unhappy about it, like, or if you have the means to change them, like, sure, change them to an extent. Like, I'm gonna, like, I've got my teeth done, for example. My teeth are nice. When I'm 30, I'm probably gonna be like, have a fucking terrible hairline. So I'll probably get a hair transplant. But it's like, it's like, it doesn't really bother me too much, you know. Like, even when I had fucked up teeth, I was like, it is what it is, man. Like, if I'll probably change it.
You don't go around moaning about it every time you're in a group situation. Like, oh, look at this, look at that. Yeah.
But you realize that, like, your life gets put into perspective by something. You're like, okay, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, other things I'd say off the top of my head would be, I really hate like this might be count as 2, but like bougie and like materialistic, people that like value themselves based upon what they own. It's like, man, like, it's so unattractive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many pictures on like dating apps of girls like in front of their dad's Merc. Or,
my god!
And it's like, it's like, do you think you have more value because you have money or your parent has money? It's like, I don't give a fuck.
It's crazy, because like, honestly, I've seen some people, you know, even in this building and stuff, would, let's say, gain a following, gain a lot of money or whatever, and spend every single dime on it, on like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, like bags,
it's
like
big
shoes,
in Manchester, I can tell.
It's huge over here. Like, people will have no fucking money left to like eat and still buy like more Gucci shoes. I'm like, dude, why? Like, it's so much more important to me anyway, personally, to like invest and save and like plan for your future so that you're good and you're settled and you know that you'll always be all right, rather than like, because all it is just wanting to show off to other people. That's literally it. It's not because you just like the pair of shoes. It's because there's a stigma or a stature. Is that what it's called? Stature?
Not sure.
There's like a social code almost that comes with buying those pair of Gucci shoes, because if you're at a party and everyone's like, oh, she's got money, she's loaded, it's what people think of you, rather than like, you just like the pair of shoes so you bought them.
It's like a crutch. It's like your own insecurities and shortcomings are propped up by that materialistic thing, and you think it's going to make you happy, but it's never going to make you happy. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I think it's like, it's fine to like shoes and like nice watches and other things, but you shouldn't value yourself and other people based upon that. Like, who gives a fuck, man? So yeah, that's a big, like, I've got go on, what you say?
No, basically, like, they almost, because of their lack of personality, this is not everybody, so there's, you know, it's fine if you've got loads of fucking cash. If you're like Kylie Jenner, if you've literally got cash pouring out your ass and you want to buy whatever the fuck, like, do whatever the hell you want with your money. But when you spend every single dime you have on just showing off to other people, it's almost as if they're making up for like a lack of personality, because if you can't make friends with nothing, the friends that you're making with something are just there because you have money. They don't actually care about you. Do you know what I mean? It's
like some dude messaged me the other day. I think I told you about this, or like the other night, with like 1 million followers. I don't know what he wanted, if he was trying to fuck me or if he was like, or if he was just like trying to get me involved in something. But he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm there like, dude, are you that fucking clueless that you think I'm gonna go to the effort to have a conversation with you with your dead chat? But I haven't even replied to him.
It's because
you have followers. It's like,
Yeah.
do you think you're like that? Do you have that much entitlement that like, it's like the thing of money, man. Like, yeah, sure, it makes life easier having money and this and that. But like
100%.
personally, I don't fucking care, man. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the follower thing is a really weird one. Like that's why, you know, a lot of the times I won't mention it because you want to see like who actually just likes you for your personality, the way you're talking, the way you just are. So I literally will not mention it at all. And people will be fucking cunts to you. And then the minute they find out, change. It's just like
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's
yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Get a lot of that
it's
in music
amazing.
as well.
Yeah,
like,
it's just insane. Like that's all they care about, and it's just I don't know. It blows my mind. Anyway, next.
No, I was just gonna say, it's
go
like
on.
it's one of the to add to that. It's like the reason we're friends. I think it's an
Yeah.
important one. Like I'm fucking good at meeting. Like let's say, okay, it's a shit. It sounds like a really shit egotistical thing to say, but like in this day society, if you have a lot of followers, you are perceived as having higher value.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of money, you're perceived as being of high value,
value.
etc., etc. It's why like I'm very good at like. It just so happens to like meeting and being friends with high value people, not because of who they are, but like you, like I couldn't give a fuck if you've got like 10 followers or 1 million followers, you know, I'm still going to treat you like the piece of shit that you are. And it's like, I've got a lot of friends like that, man. I've got a lot of musician friends as well, because normally people are like, oh my God, can I get a photo? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, speak to people like fucking people.
On the same level, literally on the same level. Like they're just another human. Like they don't have any higher value just because of money or anything else. That's why like I just go on. Go. That's why I just like I almost as like a test. You know what I mean? If I go out to like an event, a party, whatever, never mention it, and I'll just see who's actually nice. Like all the friends I'm actually close with had no clue for weeks that I even did Instagram. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I knew. I was like, they're fucking lovely and they have nothing to gain from me, and they're still treating me the exact same. Do you know what I mean?
It's why I guess a lot of our friends don't give a fuck about social media.
Exactly.
Because
and
they
I
like
love that.
they treat you like a normal person. And if you do have friends, for example, that do social media full time, you're friends with them as well, because like they know how it is as well. Like they don't give a fuck how many followers you have.
Very true.
But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it's the same thing of like to go full circle. It's like meeting women that are very attractive, or like high profile women, for example. It's like so many guys like place people on a fucking pedestal because of the way they look or what they have, for example. And at the end of the day, like the moment you do that, like you're gonna be instantly like blacklisted from them. You just gotta treat people like the pieces of shit that they are. But it's like, what was I can't remember. I was gonna add to that. Nah, it doesn't matter. I can't remember.
But that's a really good point though, because I do think that go on.
Like I call it fan zoning.
Okay.
Have you ever had it where
What's that?
you've met someone and they've been like really sound, but they treat you like you're a fucking like god or something?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I really, 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 really don't like it. And it just comes across so like fake and just as if like their intentions are just so unpure, because they're just like, they're doing everything they can to like be your best friend. It's like, bro, when you're like really close with someone, it just comes naturally. It's not just because someone's like clinging onto you for fucking dear life. You know what I mean?
Well, it creates a hierarchy. Like when someone puts you on a pedestal, like on a psychological level, it's like them saying that you're better than them and they're lesser than you. And it's like, why would you do that to yourself? Like I call it fan zoning. Like when someone like, it's like the friend zone, but they've made themselves out to be a fan. Like, you know what I mean?
I definitely get what you're saying. I feel like it does happen.
Don't go in the fan zone.
No, don't go in the fan zone. No, I think that's a good point, because I think people just, like you said before, see you as like this big trophy to even get, like by being your friend, or like for example, I'll know some people even in this building and they'll just name drop. Like, oh, look at, like I saw this guy actually, like I can't mention names actually, but he was on his phone and he kept like scrolling on WhatsApp, and like he had all these big people on there, or like he went on his Instagram DMs and just kept scrolling of all like the little ticks that he's got like DMs with, and it's like, you're not even doing anything on your phone, bro. You're just trying to hope that people around you see who you're messaging, and it's just like, what the fuck? It's embarrassing. It's weird. It's embarrassing.
I'm sure like I used to do that as well, like name drop stuff when I was younger and shit.
Yeah, but it's just like
it's not the way to be, man.
Because what's the point? Because even if people, let's say you do get loads of friends from doing that, they are only friends with you for that reason. They only care the fact that like, oh, you're friends with this person, you know this person, I can benefit from you because then I can be friends with that person. You know what I mean? It's just a never-ending cycle. But what's next?
Oh, I don't know. What have I said so far?
Pedestal. Fucking. Insecurities. Pedestal.
No, insecurities.
Fan zoning.
No, that's something different. So I said insecurities. I said, what was it? Can't remember. Oh, this is fucked. No, I can't.
It's fine. Just do like one or two more. And then
Yeah,
we'll move
yeah.
on.
Like when, obviously this is a really easy one, but like when, like it's more easy to talk about like what I find like attractive. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, it's physical. Like I'm drawn towards petite blonde girls with blue hair and blonde eyes.
Yeah.
Blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like I don't really care about like if someone's like got big tits or anything like that. For example, it's more like. Literally, that's my type. Petite, blonde, like natural kind of looking, rather than like lathered of makeup around here.
What do you think about that though? Because I feel like more and more, like every month, more and more and more people, especially young people, are just getting so many injections and just changing their faces so much. And sometimes it can be really good, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes people do it in a way that like you can't really tell and it looks really nice and still kind of natural. But it's just being more and more and more overdone and like very, very plastic looking. And it's almost like then other people start doing it because they need to live up to that same expectation because they're the odd ones out. It's like crowd mentality. Why do you think with your like, you know, the amount of books that you read and
knowledge.
Like knowledge but why do you think why do you think that so many, especially girls, I'm not targeting girls, but it's just sort of what you see the majority of, why do they also fall into that plastic kind of look, especially if you live in a city where it's very common, like LA, even Manchester, like I feel like I see it quite a lot. People fall into that category of almost looking the same, and I don't really see that many people just expressing their like individuality like you do get in a lot of other places. Why is that? Why do people follow the crowd so much in terms of looking a certain way? Well, it's a hard question.
Okay, so it's like there's a different, I'll break it down into a couple of things. There's like, so there's obviously people want to look best they possibly can. I think I know what kind of you're asking, but these are like my explanations for it. Obviously people want to look the best they possibly can, so they're the most attractive they can possibly be, and that's just gonna be based on like
to attract like the best mate.
based on based on societal standards, and based on like standards that are genetically ingrained into us, like facial symmetry and bone structure and other things. There's going to be another factor to it, which is something called social facilitation.
Okay,
so
what is that?
So that's like used in marketing as well.
I feel like I'm learning so much.
Yeah, well, no, I've read a lot of books, I might as well share it. So that's like in marketing as well. So social facilitation is where if you see someone doing something, you are more likely to do that behavior yourself.
Yeah.
So let's say you're at a party and 9 out of 10 people there are smoking weed. You're more likely to smoke weed because everyone's doing it. If you're at a party and 9 out of 10 people are like, ugh, cannabis, that's
weed,
disgusting.
Yeah.
You're less like so it's like you're more likely to do a behavior if you see people doing it. So if everyone around you is getting Botox and lip fillers, like it's disproportionate compared to where I live here or even London, how many people are like look like fucking orangutans and have like chocolate stains all around their mouth where they've penciled in their lips.
Oh my god, this is brutal.
It's like, no, it is. And it's probably due to that social facilitation because it's like, okay,
everyone else is doing it.
It's probably got a different name if you're actually like
referring to it in this
social facilitation. I think it's just a behavior.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'd say is like, which is probably the answer that you were thinking of, is the third thing is I'd say insecurities. Like it all comes down to people want to change themselves because they are insecure and they think that if they fix this problem they're going to become secure and they're going to become happy. But it's like they're just that is like they're just like fixing one problem when the real problem is internal, and then they're just going to find another physical problem, which is why people massively overdo it with makeup and other things. You know, it's like they're looking to make upset. They're like, oh, when I get this I'll be happy, when I get this I'll be happy, and they're never going to be.
But it just kind of like it pushes the barrier like further and further and further the more you do. It's kind of like what you said before about breaking the seal almost with doing it. Like the minute you do one thing, it's like, oh, I could fix this as well, or I could fix this too, and you start almost like honing in on every tiny little problem that might not even be problems because you're so into that like world of trying to look perfect, and you're never going to look perfect. And I feel like some people do take it way too far and way to the extreme and kind of ruin their like individuality and their natural sort of look that maybe was what made them attractive in the first place. There are obviously situations where it can make someone look better, but
Looks fun to me.
but yeah, that's quite interesting actually. Where were we going with that before though?
Oh, you're asking me about we're still on
Crowd.
a trait. Well, we're the bigger topic was attractiveness.
Right.
Like what I find attractive and not.
Right. Because I know a good segue into this, which is like the crowd mentality thing. I think that's really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether to go into that or
Go for it, whatever you want.
should we do one more?
Whatever you want. I mean, just go.
We'll do one more like
I'm fine. I can literally talk for hours. I mean,
one more pet peeve, and then we'll go into the other stuff.
all right.
Last pet peeve.
Okay, so last pet peeve as well, or like a thing that I find attractive / unattractive.
Could be anything, like personality, like looks, absolutely anything.
I kind of do like I kill like 7 birds with one stone, or I just do a load of quick fire points. Basically, it's like when someone like takes themselves too seriously.
Don't have any banter, like just dry.
Or even if they don't have
yeah.
banter, it's more like they think they are the center of the universe, and like they're not fun. They take themselves too seriously, like which kind of ties in with the materialism and other things. I think like heavy insecurities, like I said earlier, is a big one that turns me off people. So it's like generally, man, like if someone can have fun, if someone doesn't give a fuck, like on dating profiles, the people I'm attracted to are always the people with like the weird pictures that like, because it's like to me that's like associated with
ones,
fun.
like, yeah.
And those people are going to be the happiest people because they're not like holding their happiness to a standard that's based upon like how they look or how other people think of them,
perceive them.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. Like if someone does have like a Tinder profile or something watching this, like don't be too serious with it, because some people will try so fucking hard and every obviously I'm not single anymore, but when I was on there, like if some people just a lot of guys, oh my god, they just try so hard and they make everything like seem so perfect, like it's a picture with their dog and it's a picture with their mum and oh look at my abs, like I'm sure you've got fucking loads of shit.
I've actually got my mum on there and my abs, but I do it strategically, don't worry.
But like and the ones I went for, like Josh's profile, him just being a fucking wreck, bro.
A cannon.
Like an absolute fucking wreck. Like him just
because it's fun.
It's fun. Just like thanks. And he was just doing like loads of dumb shit. Like his profile picture on there was literally like him going like or doing like some fucking crazy face and like with his mates and like just having fun. And that to me, I was like, oh, who's this guy? Because every other fucking guy I had swiped across was just like like,
and then he spoke to you, and he spoke to you like shit. I
yeah.
guess. Oh no, he spoke to you like a shit cunt, the technical term.
Yeah, because he spoke to me like
he wasn't like, oh my god, hey, you're so pretty. Like you would probably wouldn't have fucking even replied to it. Like how bad is that? Like
it's so bad. Because the thing is, right, being like a girl on a dating platform, no matter what the fuck you look like, you just get loads of fucking creepy guys being like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? You're so beautiful. Like, fuck, bro. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I don't want, again, like, back to the pedestal shit. Like, you almost want to just be on the same level as them and reach out to
system,
them.
Mate.
Exactly. Reach out to them.
Put themselves down here and they put you up here.
Exactly. And people don't respect you when you do that at all. No. And if you reach out to someone and be like, you're a cunt, and they'll either take it two ways. They'll either laugh and be like, what the fuck, you're a cunt too, or they'll be like, oh my god, you're a cunt, like, you know what I mean? They'll be like proper like hurt by it, but then you already know, okay, right, well, they're not my vibe then, because I clearly can't even like have a joke with this person without them being offended. So
exactly, yeah,
red flag. Let's just move on and get rid of that one. But I think it's really interesting as well to like not be so damn desperate on social, like, dating 100%, platforms.
Mate, that's the biggest thing where guys go wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
100%.
And so I just completely get what you were saying about like when you get to a girl on that platform where she's just having fun and like she clearly seems like a good time, a laugh, and like positive, not caring so much about what people think of her on the platform, then it is when you do get almost the best people. And you know, it's how I found Josh. So.
There you go. It's like authentic as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the moment, like especially as, for example, you are high value because you've got that following, blah blah blah. You know you're attractive, etc., etc. It's like you're gonna get loads of guys like simple, and like you said, every girl is gonna get it. Like even I get girls messaging me like, oh my god, you're gorgeous, or hey
daddy.
And it's like, yeah, it's like, no, I find hey daddy's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
Jade.
Oh my god.
You can say that.
Oh my god.
But no, but but yeah, and it's like the moment they say it, like they say it to you, like you're just instantly categorized with every other fucking weirdo that has said that. And it's like one of the main things that men need to like understand, like if you want to actually like meet people and stuff, it's like don't chase, like don't go out and like do not compliment, man. Like when you're with someone, like don't like tear them down, be like, you can tell them like they're
you
beautiful.
Look fucking ugly today.
My God, you gained weight, you fat bitch. No, but it's like
lose some fucking weight.
No,
Every time you have sex with me, just throw up.
Don't be a cunt, man. But it's like but also it's like when you first meet someone or develop rapport with them, like it's like it should be like it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be like complimenting them because it just makes it awkward and weird. It's like, for example, like I don't know, it's like a backhanded compliment's like a good one for someone. Like it's like, Bella, you're not ugly enough to wear that shit necklace. Or like, that's like a nice one. Something
like a backhanded.
Something like that where the person's like, hang on a minute. Or like if it's someone,
they have to like think about it, you know.
If it's like Josh speaking to you before you've met, it's like if he opens or with like a conversation starter, and it's like something like that you've never got before, like completely unexpected. Like if I go on a dating app, I always try and sketch out of the podcast. If I go on a dating app, I always try and like I think what everyone else would say, and I'd say something completely different. And because you just think about it from there, it's like their point of view. And it's like, so if you like it, or let's say someone says like to you, it's like creating a seller buyer dynamic almost, I call it. So it's like, let's say someone says to you, like also a girl says to me, for example, you should take me on a date. And then rather than being like, oh yes, like I'd love to take you on a date, you're so beautiful, like we're just gonna be like giving the fucking ick, I'll be like, give me a complete douchebag thing to say, but I'll be like, give me 3 reasons to take you on a date. Or like what three US unique selling points have you had?
Like why do you deserve that?
Or why should I take you on a date? Or let me check my busy calendar of dates and I'll see if I can squeeze you in at some time. Like you know what I mean? It's like,
something different.
Make it fun, man.
Make it it's like partly a chase as well. If you're just too available, too easy. Like when I was single or whatever, like I had a few little list of people that I was sort of talking to at the time, and like I just got bored of every single one of them.
You cheater.
No.
Josh.
No. I was single. Okay? I was fucking single. But I was speaking to like, I think 3 guys, like just when you're just chatting, you know what I mean? And so seeing where the conversation, seeing where the conversation went. Like I've never met any of them.
Absolutely,
I have to like actually be into the person, like how they're speaking before I even meet them as well. So just seeing how it goes. And I just got fucking so bored of each and every single one of them because it was almost like I couldn't distinguish the 3. They were all the same fucking conversation, like the same exact topics. Everything was just the same because they all talk the same. They all ask the same exact fucking questions, like everything the same. And like Josh was the first person to just be like the most completely fucking different one.
That's the thing.
That's what like actually got my attention and what made me speak to him, because
attractive.
It's so
it's
different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like bucking the trend.
I was like, why is he not licking my ass? You know what I mean? I was like,
so that makes you want to speak to him because you're not getting that approval and you're not getting that validation. So you want to speak to him more because you're like, well, this guy's different. Yeah,
because it's just like one of those things, like you're used to people, on a dating app or whatever, and the same chat, and like they're all licking your ass, they're all like doing the same shit, and then when you get one that literally just seems like he doesn't fucking care whether you speak to him or not, he's just like, I don't fucking care, and calls you like a cunt. That's what Josh did. You're a cunt. I'm like, okay. You're like, why doesn't this person lick my ass? Like, you know what I mean? You're almost like that little bit of not insecurity, but like the little niggle in your head that like puts you think highly of yourself, and like that person's not showing you the interest that everyone else does. You're like, why? Why are you doing that? What's the reason? So yeah, definitely. I think that's a good point.
So, yeah, I think it's that as well, and it's like everyone wants to be liked as well.
Yeah.
And it's not so much like about making someone thinking they don't like you or they hate you or anything, but it's like it's almost as if it's like a game. Like if someone's like, okay, it's like if someone's like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty, or just the same generic conversation, it's like the game has been completed. It's like playing like Skyrim and having maxed out Daedric armor from the like very start of the game. You're just gonna get bored of it.
Exactly.
But if you start the game and like you don't really know how you stand, or the person like isn't like chasing after you, or they're throwing out some insults and speaking to you a bit differently and like taking the piss out of you, like you're gonna be like, hang on, like this is fun, like I wanna continue this. So I think that's a big one, man.
It's almost as if they're not just laying out all the cookies in one go. Do you know what I mean? You have to actually like work for the little bites of cookies.
100%.
And that, like you said, that's what makes it fun, and that's what keeps you like invested and interested in what's going on, because you never know like what's gonna happen next or what they're gonna say next, or like if you could just lose all the cookies in one go and someone just fucking pushes the plate off the edge and you're like, no. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, and definitely really good advice as well if you guys are on like dating apps, or if you want to, you know, get better at chatting to girls and
treat women like shit.
No, okay. But let's also, on the other spectrum of it, like, he's joking. But like you said before, if you are in like a relationship with someone, I think it's different because you both know you're with each other. Obviously you can still have the banter and still have a laugh and like
absolutely,
all of that, but at the same time it is nice, like, compliment, and it is nice because you're sort of already secure in that relationship. You're not trying, it's not like a big chase anymore. So in that situation I do think it's different, but also, you know, a little bit of like chasing a relationship is still nice at times.
I think it's always better to be chased, not chase. Not chase, you know, especially from like, I think the more attractive or the more high value the person is that you want to speak to, the more important this is. Like I've met some like fucking awesome people, and like some of the interactions that I've had with like people and girls, for example, that are like on TV and shit, and like very big, high value people. Like that's, I've literally been like a little, I don't want to actually say cunt, but I've treated them like they've never been treated before. Like I remember I was staying in a hotel once and some girl was asking me, who was like someone on TV and shit, was asking me to come to her room, and I was like, no, I've got work to do. And she did not know how to react to it.
Really?
She got genuinely angry with me.
She got angry at you?
Yeah. She was fucking crazy bitch. She like basically had an argument before I met this person like once, and she was like, oh, you want to come down to my room? And I was like, oh, well, I've got to finish up some work first.
Oh my God.
Maybe later. I said, did she come up to mine? And she was like, no. And I was like, no, all right then. And then she did not take that well. But it's like, and then it was like she hated me. But then she didn't hate me because I saw her later that evening.
And then it all worked out fine?
Yeah, it's great. It's fine. Fantastic.
Wow.
But it's like, because like people like are so used to being treated like a princess, she like doesn't know how to respond. But even though it like might annoy her, I'm not saying annoy people, this one situation, it's like she's fucking interested because she's like, why isn't this guy running after me? Why isn't this guy coming to my room when everyone in a 100-mile radius would come to my room? Like I want this person because of that. So
that's fucking like, it's so weird how we do those kind of things, but we don't even realize it. So that's why I think people that do study it, and like, it is kind of manipulation in a way, because you are sort of purposely doing it, you know what I mean? Like if you're doing that kind of thing with like the intent of, because you know you're going to get something else.
I genuinely had to work to do. I genuinely didn't really care.
Well, but like in a lot of people will take this and like actually put those skills to use. It is kind of manipulation, but at the same time, like you said before, some people are born with it, some people develop it naturally, and some people you just learn along the way, and you need to like use things to your advantage sometimes. And if that's being a cunt to people, then you know,
it's not being a cunt. I'd say just like knowing about like not to chase people, not to like lick people, kiss people's asses, etc., etc.
Not to do what every single other person does on the internet.
Yeah, literally, man. Just do things differently. And like I always say to people as well, like when it comes to like dating and other things, it's like this might just be a certain personality type, and if this isn't for you and you should get married and settle down with like your fucking wife and have 3 kids at the age of 25, and so be it. But like I always say that like when you send messages to people and stuff, like you want to be like on the edge of your seat. Like you want to be like, oh, I don't know if I should say that. You just because it's like it's fun. It is kind of fun.
It's definitely fun. I think it's definitely useful for a lot of people that probably do just send the hey, how are you, and the boring shit. So,
hey,
how are you?
You should never say hey, basically. Like you never open a message of hey. And like the weirder the better. Like I started a message with the girl the other day about her tattoo.
Okay.
And we started speaking. I said it looked like a stingray. It turned out it was a dragon, and then the conversation went down to like straight away turned into who would win out of a fight, like a giant stingray or a dragon.
What the fuck?
And then we had like a really elaborate conversation.
Oh
from
my
there, and then we got a
god,
number,
that's
so,
funny. Yeah, that's good. That's like where you want it to go. Really, you just don't want to be trapped in the same fucking old boring like questions and conversation. But
exactly.
Moving on from this point, I was going to ask you. There's so many people, including yourself, breaking up at the moment.
Yeah.
All the relationships around me are just falling apart.
Crumbling down.
Me and Josh seem to be the last people standing. We might get there soon. No, I'm just joking.
I can feel Josh being like, nah, fuck off, Bella.
But every relationship around me, people that have been together for years, just not even years, just like a year or two, just everyone is fucking breaking up. Why?
Yeah.
Please explain to me.
I don't know.
Why?
I don't actually know. Like,
yeah, but why do you think?
I like the way I've suddenly become like
the guru,
in a position of authority. Like, so, dude, basically, listen, Bella. Mercury and Venus are on a trajectory that's separating couples.
People are feeling insecure right now. No, but why? In your like perspective and your opinion of like, because like you learn about a lot about like society and like how people's brain works and just all that kind of stuff, so I feel like you'd be a good person to ask this question to.
I would say, like, in my uneducated opinion on this, I don't have any kind of like premise or haven't learned about it.
Yeah,
I would say like two things. Number one is like you're in your mid-20s, so around that age now, people, it's either probably there's going to be a lot of relationships that have been together and people realize, okay, this isn't like serious enough to warrant staying together.
Yeah,
you know, they want to be single in their 20s, want to go out and have fun. And then the second thing I'd saying as well is like post-COVID as well, like obviously a lot of people have been cooped up, people want to like go out, be single, hot girl summer,
you know what
I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a factor with it.
But then, why is it that everyone got into a relationship at the start of COVID? Because there were relationships being built like left and right. And I was like, yeah, you and like literally, there's so many fucking
beep
people.
out that name.
Oh shit, sorry. Yeah, please beep out the names that we dropped. Yeah, just left and right, so many relationships being formed, and then as soon as restrictions loosen, they all break down. Like, why are all of these COVID relationships just fucking falling apart?
All right, I think as well then, now I've had the whole 3 seconds to think about it. You're talking. I think as well, it's because like, okay, so during these like COVID relationships, people are like in a state of like scarcity, so they're like, oh, I can't go out, I can't meet people, this person will do, and they like don't know when the world's gonna up again. They're not going out, they're not getting that approval and validation from people in clubs, having people try and sleep with them, approach them, etc. So they like maybe they settle for less, or they don't have any kind of exterior temptations, or a factor of the both. And then now the world's opening up, now people are able to go out, they see they're getting attention from the opposite sex, they realize that relationship isn't all that great, they're like, oh yeah, like other people are interested in me, fuck this guy, I don't have to settle for this, catch you later.
Yeah, like the more options, more things to do, like the world is sort of back again almost, because otherwise you would just be confined into that like little space in your house or whatever, and like just the people you know, really, because you can't meet anyone new unless it is like through dating apps. But still, also dating apps are just trash. Like it's not exactly the finest selection.
Yeah, I don't really know.
No offense to you and Josh, but
no. Like, the fact you found each other through Tinder, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which pretty, I think, like, they do have.
It's rare, but it happens.
They do have premise, but I don't think you should hold out your hopes on like meeting your long-term partner through a dating app. No. Like, you're probably an anomaly.
Yeah, it's a rarity, but it can happen. But I feel like people were so confined in their little spaces that they just, even if you, let's say, were with your long-term like partner or whatever, and things were going bad, you would just kind of like ignore it almost, or just push past it, because like, what are you going to do? Break up with this person, be completely alone and isolated during like the whole of the next year, and like not have anybody else, not have like the convenience of a relationship during a time like that. Whereas now, like you said, there's so many more options. You can meet people in so many different ways. You can actually go out with friends. You can be single again, because you can't really have like a fulfilling single life in COVID lockdown. Does that make sense? Because what are you going to do? Fucking have a party in the, I don't know. Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay. Moving on. Mo.
Yes.
you tend to aggravate a lot of people.
No, I don't.
Yeah. You tend to aggravate a very small select group of people.
Yeah. I aggravate a moderate group.
A moderate, big / large group of people. Feminists.
What?
Okay, so feminist. I feel like the actual dictionary term for feminist versus what feminists are today are two fucking different worlds.
All right.
Because it's no longer just, if we do the exact same job, we get the same pay. Those things I completely agree with. I feel like if you're doing the exact same job at the exact same skill level as a guy, 100% get paid fairly. But there is going to the extreme nowadays where I see a lot of feminists wanting, for example, complete equality in everything, but then when it comes to like a first date, they still expect the guy to pay the bill, which doesn't make any sense in my head whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you also want everything else to be equal, like, don't get me wrong, if I go on a first date with Josh or whatever, hell yeah, I expected him to pay for my dinner, but
He's nicer than me.
but at the same time, like, I don't think that, I'm not like equal in every single thing. He's stronger than me. He's bigger than me. Hell, I'm like, smaller. There's more danger if I'm out alone at night on the street. Like, there's a lot of things that
Patriarchy.
it's that, we're different in many ways.
Fuck.
And like, I accept that. But a lot of people will want equality in every single field ever, but still want the guy to pay on the first date. Please give me
oh my God.
your
All
thoughts.
right. So I've never actually touched on this on social media.
Yeah.
Because
which is why I brought it up.
I have a lot of opinions on it. I'm not a lot of opinions on it.
Some heavy,
but
strong opinions.
well, people are going to disagree, and people are going to,
of course,
are like not going to be happy about it. But I don't really give a fuck. Like I'm not a very polite person. But yeah, in terms of the concept of feminism itself, so I like there's this thing these days where like all the isms or all the like yes they exist, yes they're problems, but like people like to get very complex problems and oversimplify things that are incredibly complicated involving numerous factors. So let's take for example the wage gap in England that doesn't exist due to the patriarchy. It's like men work longer hours, men take less maternity leave, for example. If you actually look at like multivariate statistics, you can very quickly debunk that isn't as black and white as you think. Sure there is a small percentage of that which is wrong, that is due to like some inherent sexism, but like in this day and age, if you are equally qualified, if you work equally hard as the next person, you are more likely to you will get paid the same. Like that's how we.
Let's just specify it as well in England, because obviously there's a lot of countries which.
Let's say in the West. In the West. So it's like oversimplifying a very complicated and complex problem. It's like as well saying like how the majority of CEOs or people in powerful positions are men. Is that correct? Like, would it be great if it was completely equal? Yes, it would be great if it's completely equal, but there's a reason why that doesn't occur. There is a reason why that is like that. It's because of like biological characteristics, how men are going to be more assertive, more dominant, more likely to take risks due to testosterone, due to the brain development, due to other things. Like for example, the pay gap. Men, there's studies done on this, men are more likely to ask for a pay rise. They are significantly more likely to negotiate a starting salary, and if they didn't negotiate that starting salary, they get paid less versus women who aren't. And I think it's almost like anti-feminism if you think that everyone should just be equal. Or as black and white as that. If that's not,
because it's not a black and white issue whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, there are loads of things in feminism that I 100% agree with. I think are very, very fair, but it's just to the extent that people are taking it nowadays. But to play devil's advocate as well, there are a lot of times I've seen it personally with my friends and things where there will be women in the workplace and like men in power that don't like let the women actually succeed and push the men further. So it does exist. I think it's ignorant for us to say that like sexism in the workplace doesn't exist whatsoever.
No, it does exist, 100%.
It definitely does.
100%, yeah, and that's
but
wrong.
The situation isn't as bad as some people really make it out to be, as if it's like there's no way that we're all women are restricted in not being CEOs because all men push us down. But like, no, there are actually plenty of women in CEO roles and positions. It's just almost just who gets there, who's like smart enough to get there, who has like the go on.
Leading on from my previous point, I was just saying it seems it's more complex than it seems. So for example, by saying that everyone should just be equal like that in terms of like sex, like everyone should be equal, and it's just a patriarchal society why people aren't. That is stupid. Like that is so stupid, because like at the end of the day we can agree that we are different. The sexes are different biologically, from a brain structure point of view, the way we think, the way we act, the way we behave. So if we just settle on that everyone should be the same, and the only reason for any disparity is because of this sexist oppressive system that's made by men, then you're never actually going to get any equality. Versus if you say, okay, you're going to be more agreeable than me, like a psychological trait, agreeableness. You're going to be more empathetic. You're going to be, men and women both have their pros and flaws. Like, okay, so you're going to be less inclined to ask for a salary. You're going to be less pushy in a negotiation. Why don't you, if you accept that and you went out and you learn to like be better at negotiating,
push
to
through.
be better, to be more pushy, to ask for a salary and learn those things, you're going to increase your chances of getting that promotion, getting that CEO position. It's like you're very successful in business and what you do because you have
I don't take any shit. I just
you have masculine traits in the sense you're not agreeable. It's quite funny. So if you look at like very successful women, it's like the traits that they have are similar to the traits that the most successful men have as well.
Very masculine traits.
Or like it's not a fact, but like generally speaking. So for example, your low agreeableness.
What does low agreeableness mean? Sorry.
It's like on the most, I can't explain it to you on a psychological level because I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to pretend to know. But like how likely you are to agree with someone, you know, for example.
Without basically.
So if I told you like, better, like I don't know, earlier you saying I want to do the podcast at 12. I say to you, I want to do the podcast at 12:30. You say no, we're doing the podcast at 12. You're an absolute bitch, and like I'm like, there's no point in even fucking arguing with her because like she's like so not agreeable. But that's
very
like
much
a trait that makes you successful, and it's like other friends that I have that are girls, like that are very successful have like these similar traits. So it's like, okay, that they've got these characteristics, they've got these traits that make them successful. They're not going to be like, oh, we live in an oppressive patriarchal society, I'm just going to cry and scream and shout about how I don't have everything I want to have. You actually go out and fucking get it. I think it's sexist. I think modern feminism is sexist to men and sexist to women, like what it has become.
It almost like puts you in a category where it's like, you know, you feel it's like victim mentality again. Like you are an oppressed group, or you're a woman, so you can't like be as successful as these guys. So sometimes you never even try, or you don't know how to get there, or you feel like you're in that category. And because you think you're in that category, you then are. It's almost like as if you manifest it in yourself. I really do believe in like just manifestations and like what you think you become almost. So if you think you're oppressed, you will be oppressed. Obviously that this can be a triggering quote, because obviously there are times where, you know, in racial situations or like other situations where that isn't the case. Like not just because you think you're oppressed, you actually fucking are oppressed.
Well, yeah, and that is sexual discrimination in the UK. But like the fact that like a big thing, for example, was like the Me Too movement, like how we live in a rape culture where our culture encourages rape. It's like if I went down to the street there and raped someone in front of a crowd of people and started like tearing off a woman's clothes, because like by the logic, if we lived in a rape culture, everyone would just be like, it's all right, that happens all the time. No, I'm gonna get my fucking face stamped in. Like we do not live in a culture where that is acceptable. Yeah, it does happen, and there are people out there that are pieces of shit.
There are groups out there as well, of course, but not the society.
And places in the world. But the notion that the
whole of the UK is like a rape culture isn't accurate.
And it creates more discrimination, man. It's like, okay, what at the end of the day, like how does this like segregation between sexes, race, whatever it is occurs? It initially occurs by grouping people based on physical characteristics into distinctly different groups and being like, you're different because of this, you're different because of this, you're different because of this. And like now what's happening is it's come full circle, is that we think by grouping people even more, it's gonna make discrimination even
better,
less when it does exact opposite. It's like, treat everyone the fucking same, man.
100%.
Like,
and like just going back to what you said as well before about the traits, like I've actually never stopped to think about that, but when you said it just like, I'm like, whoa, that's so true, because like I've always been like, most of my friends are guys. Like I have a lot of like masculine energy. I'm like
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm like brutal. I'm
Yeah.
like very like to the point. I'm just very like I'm like a boy with a vagina. You know what I mean?
Literally, how I described you last night.
But like also like straight girl. Like I'm into guys clearly. Otherwise, Josh would have a vagina too, which he does not. But it is very, very, very interesting how, thinking about it now and actually putting it into perspective, like how many CEOs or like successful women that have those really masculine characteristics where they don't take any shit and like they're very like what non-agreeable.
Low agreeability.
Yeah, where they really.
I can't remember all the traits, but there's several traits.
Things that
I'm not a psychologist, like I said.
Yeah,
but.
of course. Like but several things that like. They do push back and they like, you know, for example, with me, like I remember when we like were talking about like, let's film the podcast first when you get here and then go to the gym. And I was like, no, or you were like, let's go to the gym first. I was like, no, we're filming the podcast first.
That links to how good of a negotiator you are.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
let's say like money wise, you're negotiating a brand deal, like you're going to be fucking good at it.
Yeah.
Versus let's say like, I don't know,
if I was more agreeable and more feminine energy and I didn't like pushing back on things as much.
Yeah. So if you were like you didn't want to offend anyone, you didn't want to upset anyone, you were
as more sympathetic, more emotional, more like thinking with my like emotions rather than just like logic and
you would probably get less money, and that's why this exists. And it's like, okay, so does that mean we ban all negotiations? Does that mean we ban any kind of like salary increase? And everyone gets this like set level salary, like regardless of what they do or who they are? No, that doesn't work.
No.
Like that does not work. So it's like, okay, so maybe then we should like accept that there are differences between people and like celebrate the good differences. And if there's any differences where people fall short, like train people to
help them with that.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, it's like, I think it's dangerous. Like going back to the whole like Me Too movement and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's wrong. It is wrong that people like going back to catcalling or like sexual harassment or like, let's say like a girl gets her ass slapped.
Yeah. Wrong.
Like that's fucking wrong.
Of course.
And like, I get my ass slapped when I go out in clubs by girls all the freaking time because I train, I have a great ass.
Yeah.
And it's like, but yeah, there's a difference. Like I'm a man. I'm not gonna get like murdered and raped by a little girl.
Yeah.
Like if someone that's like 5'5", I'm 5'11", 90 kilos.
I have a good question.
Go on.
This is getting real deep, and
go for it.
This probably might piss a lot of people off.
Go.
But Chris Brown, you know Chris Brown,
Yeah.
the whole Rihanna story.
She beat her up.
Yeah, so he beat her up. You know, that whole thing happened. He was fucking like, loads of people hate him now. But he actually released a documentary a couple years back where he was explaining that. I'm not saying what he did is right. I'm not saying that it's go Chris Brown, beat her up. Like no, of course not. Like no, you should never fucking put your hands on anybody, male, like female, male, whatever. But he was explaining how like they were arguing and she was beating him up and like fighting him and like hurting him so much.
He's a cunt.
So much that what?
A cunt.
What's a cunt?
He is.
He's a cunt. Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm watching documentary. It's very one-sided.
Of course. But like, so forget the actual Chris Brown situation. But like, if you are in a relationship with someone and the girl is beating your fucking ass and you hit back, is that then suddenly not okay? Because look at the whole that whole situation or other situations where like a girl can lay her hands on a man, but then the opposite way around, it's completely.
I think it's not okay.
Not okay. I think it's not okay as well because of like men are typically stronger, bigger, you know, have more force behind like their punches or whatever the fuck. In that situation, I don't think it's okay. But if you're being like fucking abused, and I mean this girl is like tramping you on the face, what are you gonna do? Just sit there and not do anything?
Nah, so okay.
You wouldn't even like push her off
let's say
you?
that in that situation, obviously gonna push her, like you're just gonna.
You wouldn't beat her up.
You
but
just leave in that
push,
in that situation. You just leave, or
Right.
like I'm never say never, but okay, maybe not never say never. But like I would never hit a woman. Like at the end of the day, man, like these biological differences we're talking about, like. My grip strength, this is a tested scientific fact. A man's grip strength is 40% stronger than a woman's grip strength.
Right.
So like if you were to right now lean across the sofa and punch me in the face, you'd probably cut my lip, you'd probably hurt my nose, give me a bruise.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to be all right. If I was to lurch across
probably
the
knock
sofa
me
right
out,
now and put all my weight into it, I'm probably going to fucking kill you or break your jaw. You know, like I'm going to do you a lot of damage, man. So it's like, it's not the same. But yeah, in a situation like that you use, I don't know the Chris Brown Brown story. Like, I can't comment on it.
Yeah. By the way, just a disclaimer, I wasn't bringing this up with me being like, yeah, I think this way. I'm bringing up like the topic because I think it's an interesting conversation point. That's it. So don't put words in my mouth in the comment section. But I think it's an interesting conversation point because it's like, that's again where equality comes into play, and it's like it shouldn't be equal because like again, men are stronger, men are bigger, like just genetically they just fucking are, you know. But at the same time, should women then be allowed to smack your ass, for example? Like, you know, what where's like where's the line?
Here's the thing, like, so like, I think society is sexist towards women in certain aspects, and absolutely sexist towards men in certain aspects as well. And the whole like of the modern day feminism is something like, I think it's between 60 and 70% of women in America no longer identify as feminists.
Oh wow!
They say they're not because of what it's become, like in surveys. It's something around 60% mark. I think it's above that or 67 or something. Like you can find the data, but there is a reason why they don't identify as feminists, because it has become something else. It is literally like it is not equality anymore. So it's like, for example, I things like that. It's not as black and white. I agree that like
it's very complicated.
Yeah, like if you hit me, yada yada. But it's like women have a great advantage in many other things as well. And they have great traits. Like, for example, me getting a house recently. I couldn't get a house. I've been literally homeless for the last 2 or 3 months, staying on friends' sofas. I've stayed in a tent a few nights. I could have got a place in London, but I wanted to stay in Cornwall. There's a housing crisis down where I live because I refuse to move away from like the seaside town I want to live in. And every property has around 50 to 100 applicants. And I will not, and the way they used to do properties is you apply for property. If you're first to apply and you make enough money, you're approved.
Okay.
That's it. Like, that's how to avoid any like discrimination. But now, because every property has 50 to 100 applicants, you put your name, you put your age, you put your sex, and then the landlord looks at those numbers and they choose people based on those characteristics. So because I'm a
young
20-year-old male who wants to move into a house, they favor first it's couples, then it goes women, and then it goes older men, and then it goes at the bottom of the list young men because of the association.
Parties,
so it's like, I'm not gonna moan about it, but
it's happens.
It's like pick your poison, man. Pick your poison.
But it's just one of those things. I feel like there's always room for improvement in society with discrimination, whatever that may be, whether it's, you know, sexism, race, whatever fucking topic you want to pick. But
it's complicated.
It's everything is very, very complicated. And one thing I really dislike is when someone is completely closed-minded. Like they think a certain way on a topic and they're just not, whatever you say to them, they don't care. They don't want to listen. They don't want to hear the other side of it. That to me is where it annoys me, because ignorance. I think even if you think a certain way on a certain topic, hearing the other side is always good, even if you heavily disagree with the other side, because if you only look at information that you agree with, you're in like a bubble and you're ignorant and you're never out of that bubble, and you can never change your mind on anything, and you become almost toxic because you never listen to the other side. It's like not a conversation anymore. It's not a thing where you can learn from each other and like evolve and grow. It's a thing where it just, because like you don't think like us, we hate you, and it becomes toxic. Like, look at America, you know, the whole we don't have to go into that because that's another deep one, but it's just this hate mentality, like you think differently to me, so I hate you. Like, no, you're allowed to have a conversation about things, you know.
I think there's two different ways. Like, there's two different types of people. There are the people that are complete like neurotic narcissists, and it's like, my way is the right way. I'm right, you're wrong. Me, I make it about this thing. They want to be oppressed, they want to be victimized, because they identify with that, and that's like what gives them their special place in society on this pedestal. And then there are the people as well who just have a certain opinion on something. They want everyone to be equal and they want the best for people, but it's like, but they just have a different opinion on it or a different way about it. Like, unless you're a complete piece of shit narcissist, is what I think.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if your opinion is different to mine. Unless you're a complete piece of shit narcissist, all people want is for other people to get equal opportunities and be happy and live a good life.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they disagree on how to get there, like, they want the same end result, unless you're a piece of shit narcissist.
Yeah.
But they just disagree and think it's a different way. So like introducing all these like laws and other things that I might disagree with, that think would create more segregation. They just think that's the best way to the outcome. So like, we all want the same thing. It's just the way to get there just differs. So like, how can you dislike someone based on that?
100%. And it's one of those things where I feel like if you're not willing to at least sit down and have a conversation with someone about it, then you are just very, very closed off, and it's like you can't ever progress or get better or understand someone else's viewpoint if you're not even willing to discuss it, if you're not willing to look at the other side. I feel like in every situation there are two sides to it, and there will be different viewpoints that, like, I think as a human it's important to be able to like not be so aggressive that you can't even sit down with your opposing viewpoint person and have a civilized conversation about it. If like the world, let's go, like, you know, for example, politics, whatever, don't have to get into that because that's a big one. But politics, if you're not even allowed to, like, if you won't let yourself sit down and listen to someone else's views, like, we're fucked, bro. Like, we're fucked. Like, we have to be able to, as like a world, as a fucking society, be able to like sit down and have conversations with people that think differently to us. Otherwise we're literally fucked, because if everyone just thought the same and you're not willing to see anything else differently, like, civilization actually wouldn't grow, it wouldn't progress, it wouldn't get anywhere. That's deep. But anyway, to finish off this segment, because that was really fucking, that was deep in the trenches. That was,
nah, man, it is what it is. Like, literally, if I don't know. I think you should, at the end of the day, you should just focus on yourself.
Yeah.
If you see someone being a cunt to someone else, like, call it out. Don't
course.
just be like whatever it is. Like, if you see a fucking guy harassing a girl at a rave, like, tell him to like ask if she's alright, blah blah blah. But it's like, other than that, just focus on yourself. Like, the most successful people aren't the people that say I can't do this because of this. They're the people that like see
find
a problem,
a way to,
rather than be like, oh no, like, I can't do this, I'm too poor, I'm too disabled, whatever. They're like, they find another fucking way to do it. And those are the most successful people. So it's like, you
figure out a way. 100%. And don't let, like, whatever, don't be a victim, pretty much. Don't just
says
be like,
he's man-spreading.
mansplaining. But yeah, just don't be a victim. I feel like whatever you want in life, nothing is out of reach as long as you believe you can get there and you figure out a way to do it. Like, as long
as you're not a woman, because you're oppressed. You can't do anything.
As long as you're not a woman, because all you're made for, you're just a cum bank, pretty much.
Do you want to hear something? Do you want to hear a triggering fact?
Go on.
That is, there's a few triggering facts actually.
Oh,
Women have better. What is it? Oh no, men have better. Men have better. Are better at looking at, what's the word?
Mathematics and
no. Men's vision. Men have better long-sighted vision,
and women have better short-sighted vision.
Women have better short-sighted vision. Yeah. So it's like, do you know where like, I don't know if you're a girl, so you probably won't remember it. Yeah. But like, for example, I bet if Josh loses something, you'll find it straight away.
Yeah.
It's because your brains are wired differently. Like, you're better at looking at things close up versus men, which are better at seeing like prey and other things back in the day when they used to hunt, like a long distance, like far away.
Yeah.
Also, another interesting thing is, I find it interesting anyway, maybe just weird, is do you know you get the term throw like a girl?
Yeah.
So there's actually like a Gillette advert on throw like a girl and how sexist it was. That's actually like a biomechanical thing. So women's arms your shoulder joint actually has naturally more rotation on it.
Yeah.
So you're better for holding babies, holding children. You've evolved.
Yeah.
So you can cradle a baby easier, versus men that have a shoulder joint that is rotated more this way. So that means when a woman a woman throws, her shoulder joint is going to be more, she's going to flare her arm more, which is why you get the term throw like a girl, versus a man, which is going to be able to throw straighter,
further away.
So it's like, there's like a biology, it's really interesting.
No fucking way.
Yeah, so there's actually premise to it. Like,
premise. I feel like that there's so many differences, like, between it, like men and women, and I feel like women
are more empathetic, they're better at reading body language.
Definitely, but it's not an all case situation. Like, you do get, females that have masculine energy, me, or you get males that like have very feminine energy and they're very like but you do, and you know, you get people that are gay, lesbian, bi, whatever, like you get completely different personalities, but just biologically speaking, there are certain traits that men mostly get and women mostly get, and to ignore that is to ignore science and logic and reason and everything good in this world. But
it's like saying that women, generally speaking, women like people, men like things, which is why there's like why women do more like generally caring. There's more female
Caring
nurses, for example, versus male engineers. It's not some like underlying sexist, misogynistic system. It's like look, it's interesting. We can change subjects in a second, but like if you look at countries like Scandinavian countries where they've like done everything they possibly can to ensure like equality, like exactly the same numbers in engineering, exactly the same numbers in STEM subjects, exactly the same numbers, like, so there's because like if you look at it the most simple way, you should think that okay, there should be a 50-50 split of female engineers, for example, or female firefighters. But like we are not that simple. Like so in countries where they've deliberately like pushed for this equality and they've done everything they can, there's actually more segregation. They've actually exaggerated this perceived equality because it doesn't actually exist that simply.
It doesn't like sometimes add up. I guess you can't. It's like the military, for example. Like if you wanted to have like very very even split, like 50% girls, I don't think it would really work, because a lot of girls don't have, controversial topic, but like there are some girls 100% that could go into the military and perform just as well as a man, 100%, but the majority of girls cannot do that. There's just physically wired, you know what I mean?
There is not a single female Navy SEAL in the US.
Really?
I think they've opened up. You're allowed to apply for female now as well. But they just like, again, it's like nothing personal, but they just cannot meet the same physical standards as a man. And
then I think that's very fair. Like I'm sure, you know, in the military, Navy SEALs, whatever there is, like there will be girls that maybe do meet those criteria. Maybe like their genetics are a certain way or their personality is a certain way. They've fucking trained in the gym. I
think it's cool, but the ability for them to try is there.
Yeah, 100%. It's very possible. We're not saying that it's not possible, but just statistics and like biology, like the amount of girls versus guys that could be, you know, do the same type of work and heavy lifting in the military and in the Navy SEALs as there are girls is a lot larger. Like men, you know, they're just stronger, they're just bigger, they can carry, like, it's just some of those, like, because there was a big like riot thing about girls, not being enough girls in the military, and it just reminded me of this, because it's like, well, of course there aren't, because the majority of girls aren't as big as guys, or can't carry as much as guys. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's not even physical standards. It's more like the makeup of your brain. You know, like what women find interesting and versus what the majority of men find interesting. So it's like that naturally they're not going to go for those types of jobs, and it's not culturally or societally ingrained. It's like these deeply hardwired into us. Yeah.
That's fucking interesting, man. But
yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
For a change of topic, I don't know if we do one more, if we just
do one more if you want. We'll keep it short and sweet. Probably like 2 hours.
2 hours, fucking hell.
Yeah.
That went quick. We had a little research into RET. Me and Lucy, we sat down, went through the page a little bit, you know, snooped on their content to try and get some good questions here. And you guys talk a fucking lot about atomic habits. So please explain to the class what the fuck that is.
So basically, atomic habits is just we don't talk a lot about it, but
and there's a few videos in there. We were like, what is this?
Oh no, I think I definitely mentioned it in a few videos.
100%.
Yeah, it's just a book called Atomic Habits. It's basically just about like a book on psychology, like why we form certain habits, and it kind of ties quite nicely into other things that I mentioned. The things that I mentioned I've probably learned from this book. But the basic premise of the book is just your behavior and habits, and like why we do certain things, and how, like, for example, the cheating analogy, like if you do a behavior once, you're more likely to repeat that behavior. So it can either be like a habit can either be your like worst enemy or your best friend, you know?
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to completely change a very deep rooted habit that like you've had since you were born? You know what I mean? Not born, but like young, a kid.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Yeah, I do, but I think it'll take like take a lot of conscious effort.
Yeah.
So I can't remember they say that when we do a behavior, it comes down to 4 things. It's cue, craving, response, reward.
Wait, say that again. Cue.
So when we get the way like we do things, or when we do form a habit or a behavior, it's like 4 things occur. Like first there's a cue, something that makes you do something.
Okay.
Then you get a craving, a craving in your head to do it. Then you do the thing, the response. Then you have a reward. So let's say, for example, you smoke cigarettes.
Okay.
The cue could be you seeing a pack of cigarettes in the shop. So that cue triggers a craving.
Yeah.
That craving makes you want the cigarettes in your brain. You crave it. The response is you going to be picking up the cigarette and smoking it. The reward is going to be the hit of nicotine.
Yeah.
So like everything you do, like you picking up that can of energy drink over there, like, you know, or you putting on your lip balm.
So the cue, let's say just for people that might not understand it, let's say I did see an energy drink.
Yeah.
The cue would be to like I see it, I pick it up. What was it? The craving.
The cue might be you feel tired.
Okay, and I see a can of energy
you
drink.
associate tired. You associate being awake, which you want to feel, with caffeine.
Yeah.
So.
And then the craving would be like, oh, I actually want to feel more awake. I'm gonna grab that.
Look, yeah.
I'm gonna grab that kind of energy drink, and then there's another one. You actually do it. The response, you actually do it, and then the reward at the end, which is feeling awake.
So.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna ask, like, do you basically think that every single thing we do in life is that same pattern?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
Are
there any exceptions, or?
I don't know.
I'm asking you some hard questions
I don't know if I can comment on that, really. I'm not a
psychologist,
like I said. But yeah, I'd say most. But like, what the main point is, once you're aware of like how you form behaviors and habits, like you can really you can break them and you can like get rid of them. So you said at the start, like, do you think it's possible to break a habit? Yeah, absolutely. But you've got to like know about the bad habit. So let's say, for example, you binge eat.
Yeah.
Late at night, and it's like you want to get to that's going to be a habit, the habit of binge eating. Okay, you get you have a cue, which is maybe you're stressed. You get a craving, which is going to be you want to eat food. Your response is to eat loads of shit food, and then the reward is a little spike in dopamine, which makes you feel good for a few seconds, but then that goes back down to normal. So then you get another craving again for the food, and that's why it's like this cycle
that never ends.
Shit. Yeah. So like if you know that, then you can remove the cues. So like, for example, they say if you want to break a habit, off the top of my head, I've read this book like a year ago. If you want to break a habit, you should make the cue out of sight.
Okay, so just completely remove it and not
so
come past
for example,
it.
Rather than having chocolate on the side in your house or in a cupboard where you see it every time you open it, because that will initiate a cue, have it like at the back where you can't see it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or put it somewhere. Another thing you can do is make it difficult to obtain. So like if something's easy to obtain, you're gonna want it. So like if I use Instagram too much, I delete Instagram. So I have to download it to use it again. Like you might want to put the chocolate in a cupboard in your spare room in the house.
Lock it in a safe, put the key in the toilet.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's making it difficult to obtain. It's putting it out of sight, which is making it out of mind. And there's another one which I can't really remember, but it's just basically about just breaking habits, building new habits.
I feel like with anything though, the more you know about it, the more you can interfere with like your typical brain function. Like the more you understand how your mind works, the more you can like start to like realize like, oh shit, I'm doing this because of that. And like you actually put 2 and 2 together, and you're not just like ignorantly going about life, just letting your mind control you without you controlling it. So I think that's why I really like learning about these kind of things, because the more you know about yourself, the more you can change yourself to what you want to be, and not just like live day by day without like sort of grabbing life by the balls, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, they say that knowledge is power at the end of the day, and 100%. It's like so many people go through their lives like oblivious without questioning anything. Yeah, ignorant, man. And it's like I said at the start about, we train our bodies, like we train to look better, we train physically, especially people that follow me go to the gym. But like, why would you neglect the brain that is responsible for your entire existence and reality? It's like, you could go buy a Lamborghini and you're driving a nice car. You could go to the gym and make your body beautiful like a fucking Lamborghini. But then it's like, why wouldn't you do the same to the other most important thing, which is is your brain. And like when you ask questions, when you question things, when you like actually think like, why do I want to do this? Like, why do I, when you're like, you question your behavior and learn about your behaviors and your thoughts and other things like that, that's when you can like really
interfere with it,
or positively interfere,
in a positive way,
and grow and improve them and become like a better person.
Is that why then like meditation is such a, is it still on? Yeah,
it's still going.
Is that why like meditation is such an important thing in your perspective, because it really helps you almost like, you know, we all have these like crazy thoughts all the time, like our brains could be like racing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Mine definitely does. Like I think like a fucking train on steroids. Like my brain never stops, you know. That's why it takes so long to go to sleep. Like that's why it's hard to shut it off sometimes. And when you're thinking so much and when you're just going 1,000,000 miles per hour, you don't actually stop and just notice what you're thinking about, because what you think ultimately affects you in some way, affects your environment. Like if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, your day will become negative, like things will be around you will become more negative.
100%.
I really believe that. Is the reason that meditation is so good because it quiets the mind, which then in turn helps you to control your thought processes more, which also then controls your livelihood, like the way you create your life and the way you live life.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's part of it. That's part of the process of it, like being able to in control of your mind, or have you said. But I think like more being able to quiet your mind is another one. Like being able to like really in touch with like your thoughts and your feelings, and like that knowing like how you truly feel. So meditation for me, it's like it's not so much one thing about quieting your mind, but it has loads of like downstream effects as well. Like you'll be able to concentrate better, you'll be able to get into more of a flow state.
You actually can concentrate better when
100%. There's studies that show that that people who meditate, advanced meditators, are able to get into a flow state easier. They get less distracted. They've shown benefits for ADHD and other things. It's good for discipline, like it teaches you discipline. And interestingly enough, there's like studies as well that show that that brain activity when on psychedelic drugs like acid and psilocybin and other things is also similar regions of the brain are activated when you're meditating. So it improves creativity, yada yada yada. But I think it's something that it's just like so many people, like we have so many things going on, and there's like life is so hectic, and we have so much stimulus like constantly attacking our minds and other things, and
instant gratification on your phone,
like things like always overthinking, like other things, and like so many people just cannot just stop for a minute and like take it all in and like be at one with their self.
That is when I like first started, I don't do it every day. I try to do it like the best I can. But when I first started, it was scary. Like it scared me a little bit because I'd noticed that I'd never actually sat alone with my thoughts. Because whenever I would like, you know, let's say get anxious about something or like overthink something, I would just pick up my phone, like scroll through and so anything to like distract yourself rather than actually dealing with it and sitting there with it. And fuck, it was scary, man. It was actually like, this was a few years ago. It was actually really scary because even I didn't know myself at all. Like sitting there and seeing, like noticing the thoughts that come in and out, you're like, whoa, like what the fuck? And it can be scary to finally deal with that when you always are used to just picking up a distraction or taking your mind off it or just doing anything else but actually like sitting there in silence, you know?
Yeah, and no one can really do that.
No, it's hard.
No one can sit there in silence. Not very few people, unless you actually try and meditate. And they say that, and this is like the conclusion of a study, and they say that a wandering mind is an unhappy mind, like a mind that is like always active.
That's very true.
And the mind wanders. So it's like, unless you deliberately try and resolve that, like you're probably not going to be very happy, you know. If you can't be at one of your own thoughts, feelings and emotions, it's like going down like a hippie rabbit hole. It's like this moment right now is all
take acid, kid.
This moment right now is like all there is. Like the past, the future doesn't exist. The past has already happened. And it's like we get very anxious and stressed because like we worry about the future, and then we dwell on the past, and it's like we're constantly living in this state away from the present moment. And then the purpose of meditation is like being able to, by training your consciousness and your attention on one thing, being able to focus on the breath and being like really present. The idea is you're going to be more present and living in the now amongst other things, and it's ultimately going to make you happy because like you accept everything for like what it is right now.
Yeah, and it ooh, no, but it's such an interesting topic that I used, honestly, like as a, just being truthful, I used to maybe 3-4 years ago just think it was a bit of bollocks.
Oh, so did I.
Like I was like, that's, you know, just kind of like a weird hippie thing to do. Like, why am I going to meditate? Like, why am I going to sit in silence? Like, I've got shit to do, you know what I mean? But then once you actually get into it, it's helped me in so many ways. Like I still overthink, don't get me wrong, my mind is not,
you're enlightened. Bella.
yeah, and my mind is not 100% there, but I still overthink. I still, like, you know, go down rabbit holes in my head sometimes. But what it used to be versus now, after just meditating and like getting to practice, like realizing, like taking myself away from the thought and not letting myself get like completely like absorbed by it, and almost as if you're sitting outside just watching them go by, that's like changed so much in like the way I deal with you know, anxiety, stress, like just feelings or bad emotions, bad thought processes, like being really negative as well in my head, and like always like manifesting negative shit then in my life as well. So it's a good one. It's a good meditate, right?
Should we wrap it on that note?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much for joining the podcast. Is there any last words you'd like to say? Like a little plug yourself or whatever?
Absolutely not. You can find me on YouTube, Mo Samuels. You can find me on Instagram at Mo Samuels. The Real Evolution Training, retfam.com. retfam.com.
I'll link everything down below.
We got a free trial. But yeah, best place to contact me if you've got any questions, if you want to hit me up, is Instagram. And like I said, YouTube's my main platform. And cheers for having me, Bella. Yeah,
of course. I'll link all his links down below as well, so you want to have a look at that.
Thank
you for coming on, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye.